Unbelievable. Unbelievable that it's finally here, that the National Football League season, the 105th season for the National Football League, is here. It is here, baby. And we start the program in the 105th NFL season, of course, with the traditional Big Sills. Holy cow. Man, you guys have been absolutely going through the roof with all of your exchanges with us here. Birds 365 in the morning. What we do here with the National Football Show, I can't thank you enough. It's going to be epic tonight. Live from Arrowhead. Starts the 105th season. I mean, then you got on Friday, of course, Packers and Eagles from Brazil. Then all the great games over the weekend. By the way, we have some special broadcasting news that we are going to announce at 3:30. So be prepared for that. Got some special news. Our resident Hall of Fame voter from Yahoo Sports, Jason Cole, will join us at 4:30 to give us a perspective on the game. I might think he's at that game tonight too, by the way, in Arrowhead. And we will have, of course, the co-host of Birds 365, Xander Kraus, will be with us at 3:30. Don't forget, special broadcasting news that'll be at 3:30. And we will let you know a little bit about that. And we're looking forward to this because we haven't participated in something like this in a long time. Interesting. I saw people tweeting me out, or X, whatever you want to say, about Jason Kelce going after the Philadelphia sports media. Well, shit, the only person that has made an issue out of it, with Jalen Hurts throwing Jason Kelce under the bus and saying that he halted or stunted his growth as a quarterback, has been me. There's been nobody at that flag-waving station at WIP that's done it. It's only been me. Xander, too, in a way. Absolutely. From day one, nobody at 97.5. Nobody at the Inquirer. Me. He was talking to me. Who else? Who else took that line? And by the way, Kelce, in the same breath, blaming me in the media for taking that and making it a negative, also said Hurts has to be a better leader. He said it. He has to be a better leader. We'll get to that here in a minute. Hey, listen, dude. You know, I get that you're now a mouthpiece for the Eagles. That's not going to change my opinion of your play and how you are. Now, this is all going to be on your personality. Jason Kelce now has gone into a new arena here. You don't get the same equity from me as a broadcaster that you did when you were a player. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. That's not how this works, guy. You're new meat. You're not an established broadcaster. You don't get the equity because you're a great player to sit there and take shots at media people now that you're in the media. You're in the same thing I am. Welcome to my arena now. Get this. You have no equity with me with that. You have no equity. Why? Why? Just because you're a good heart surgeon, that means all of a sudden now you're a great dentist? Give me a break. You don't get that equity like that, guy. You haven't built up anything yet as a broadcaster. It includes Tom Brady. That includes Tom Brady. Whatever you want to say, you don't have the equity yet. Now, again, Brady's going to be more of an analyst during a game, so there's a little bit more to sit back and go, well, okay, I get it. But Kelce's now going to be on the radio. He's going to be giving his opinion on ESPN. Well, guess what, dude? JM goes, so yeah, he has not. What equity has he built up as a broadcaster, JM? You just made that up. That's right, free speech. Okay. Dude, I've been doing this for 34 years. This guy's been doing it for 34 seconds. Let's see how he works out in it. Hey, man, his New Heights podcast is outstanding. It's outstanding. So when he says something, I don't give a shit what he thinks. That means dick to me. Well, Sileo's taking it as a negative. So, and, well, I'll repeat the guy's say. I'll repeat it here in a minute. And I'll give you the quotes. Okay? I'll give you the quotes. Stills, I don't understand Kelce's issue. It's not Kelce's responsibility to develop Hurts. Kelce did what the coaches asked him to do. Absolutely. That's all he had to say. People need to toughen up. Right. So he gets pissed off because I went the other way and said, that's not what most quarterbacks do. And then Kelce, on the same breath, says that Hurts needs to be a better leader. That he needs to be a better. Here, I'll read you verbatim what he said. Verbatim what he said. Talking to me about being a better leader. You're damn right Hurts needs to be a better leader. He's been a mediocre one. By the way, there's a difference between being a hard worker, a guy who's a good teammate, and a guy who's a stout leader. There's a completely different thing. No one's denying that Hurts doesn't work hard. No one denies that he's not studying, but being a team leader, how many fucking times last year did we watch him on the sidelines pouting over there when things weren't going well and he had an ass with Nick Sirianni, and he also has to fix that shit. He also has to fix it. Here, get this. You're getting mad at me for something Kelce said. How ridiculous are you? Some of you in here are honestly as soft as tissue paper. You really can't. I mean, you guys are soft as tissue paper. With some of your, dude, I'm not attacking Jason Kelce, the player. I'm attacking Jason Kelce, the brand new broadcaster. That's what I'm doing here. This guy has an ass with the fact that I didn't like the way that his boy threw him under the bus. Here, let me read you verbatim what Jason Kelce said about Jalen Hurts. So I'm reading this here. This is Associated Press. These are the guy's words himself. And then we'll throw a topic at you with it. Hey, get this. Look at this. Get this. This guy's mad because Kelce said the truth about an actual topic of what Hurts said Sills is a drama queen. Okay, let's leave that up with what Martin said. And let's see what the words exactly were said by Jason Kelce. And I'll show you how Martin is a snowflake. Okay, I'll show you what a snowflake he is. 36-year-old center retired during the offseason and will be missed. Great years, all of that. Kelce and his brother Travis talked about Jalen Hurts and the new responsibilities he has about Jason on the New Heights podcast with his brother. Travis brought it up. Hurts' take was, we had a great player in Jason Kelce. You guys know all that. Jason responded with his displeasure with how the Philadelphia media, he means me, okay, because I'm the only one that's brought it up, has spurned Hurts' comments into a negative thing. It is a negative thing. He took a shit on Jason Kelce and his development as a quarterback. I don't care how you look at it. There's a lot of media people who in Philadelphia that are blowing this into a negative. Outside of me, who? Okay? Seriously, outside of me, who? Like he is making an excuse or something like that. I've shared these sentiments with Jalen, says Kelce. I think get this, here we go. This is a quote from Kelce. I think he's at the stage now in his career that he could take the next step forward in making all of those protection calls, things that I did for him in his early part of his young career. Jason continued about how he thinks Hurts taking on responsibilities at the line of scrimmage is going to require the quarterback to become a bigger leader and a better leader. End of quote. Kelce's telling you he wasn't quite the leader he needed the last 3 years. It's verbatim. Kelce said it. Kelce said he wasn't a great leader. I don't think he was either. Now he has the responsibilities. By the way, Kelce does go on to say, I think he's ready for it. But Jason Kelce, in the same breath, is telling you the organization and people in the organization didn't feel he had the leadership qualities to handle all the responsibilities. That's exactly what he said. So don't sit here, Jason, and tell me shit like that when you're throwing dirt at me and then you turn around and say, well, the guy hasn't been a great leader, or he needs to be a bigger leader now because of the responsibilities that are put on his table. I mean, seriously, dude. Which is it, guy? See, you got to learn one thing being in the media. You got to pick a side. You can't waffle. You got to pick a side, guy. The fact was Jason wasn't letting Hurts do that, which is why Jalen distanced himself on the sidelines. Exactly. Frustration was at a boiling point, and you could feel it. That's why Kelce retired. I think Kelce retired also because he played like shit the last 6 games of the year. That's why. Played like shit the last 6 games. Oh, God, Sills is going to be on the Eagles' head this season. I'm not sure what that means, ding-dong. Do me a favor, guys. Please listen. Again, I'm not saying what he said is wrong, but don't sit there and throw shade at me because I pointed that out, that I think that was a shit move by Hurts. Oh, is your guy's feelings injured? Shit. Okay? Time now in his career to take a step forward. What's that mean to you? Hey, Bob, since you're one of the only people in here not moaning, Bob, let me ask you something. Sills, in that quote, Kelce said that he made the line calls in the early stages of Hurts' career. He made the line calls last year. That means Kelce made the calls for Hurts' entire career. Absolutely. Hey, Bob, what does this line mean to you about Jalen Hurts? Quote, it's time now in his career, Jalen Hurts, to take the next step in making protections. Hurts taking on more responsibilities requires him to be a bigger leader. I believe he's ready. What does that tell you, Bob? Bob, what does that tell you? What does that tell you? By the way, I think he is too. There you go. Hey, Katsu, perfect. Right. 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 No more excuses. Amen. Get this. Sileo's making things up, Mr. Perez says, when I read a Jason quote that he said on his podcast. He said, would you like me to read it again? Because I will, Mr. Perez. That shit's not made up, guy. Those are his words. It's a quote. You ever hear of it? A quote. It's a quote. It's not an opinion. That's not my opinion. My opinion is actually I think he is ready. Okay, it's not about you, Crowley? Is that what you're saying? Well, he made it about me. Who in the Philadelphia media on that flag-waving station, WIP, is going to criticize when they just signed Jason Kelce on a weekly basis to be on their network? Are you fucking kidding? You got ESP. You got a guy who was accused of sexual harassment who's doing the sidelines that the Eagles want, and now you got another mouthpiece on that network. I don't know, man. You tell me. You the Philly Inquirer, you think they're going to? This is why I got to get Marcus Hayes on. He's the only guy that's going to tell you the truth. Okay? He's the only guy. By the way, I don't think it's wrong. I think Jason Kelce's trying to be a stupid media guy. It was a dumb comment by him. You don't get latitude because you're a great center to make a dumbass comment in the media. That's not how this works. Tom Brady will be criticized for his analysis that he has in the Browns game this weekend. Why? Because Brady won 7 Super Bowls doesn't mean he's not open to criticism? Screw that. Aikman is. Romo is. Everyone that's in this profession is open to criticism. Sit there and, well, hey, he's a god. I don't care. This is an equal opportunity offender. This is what it is. You're either going to get praise or you're going to be criticized. There's no gray area here. Your boy said, quote, time now in his career to take the next step. Leadership is needed and what his new responsibilities are. End of quote. End of quote. Hey, why are you mad at me for your boy saying that shit, senor? Why are you mad at me? Why are you mad at me? Mad? How could I be mad? It's open of the NFL season tonight. The Eagles and Packers play. College football this weekend. My college team looks great. Why would I be mad? My kid's not sick. I got people on my Twitter attacking my daughter because I pointed this out. You guys, some of you guys are disgusting. Why are you mad at me? Because you know why? I tell you the freaking truth. Okay? And here you go here. Look at this guy. Making it something political here. Try to keep your politics out of the program, maniac. I love you, but shit. What's that got to do with a guy making a dumbass comment and attacking the media for something that's true? You don't have to be like that guy. Love you, maniac. Okay? Hey, Bob, you're the only one in here right now with any kind of sense. Hey, Sills, I'm bitching? I'm bitching about what? The truth? Okay. Okay. Sills, it sounds like Kelce was waiting Hurts to take the responsibility, and Hurts did not. Sounds like the door is open for Hurts to lead, and he's standing in the doorway. I don't know if that's true, Bob. I don't. But I'll tell you one thing, and I think this goes into his temperament. Personally, I don't think he's a proactive leader. I think he's somebody that sits there and goes with the flow. Because you know how I feel that? He went with the flow of that team melting down last year. And by the way, where was his great leadership last year when the team was melting down? As far as I'm concerned, he has shown no ability when things are not going well to pull the team out of a rut. So until other advertised, I've seen Patrick Mahomes take a team in the Super Bowl that was down in both games and win it. Until I see shit like that, I'm still going to say that kid still got to grow as a leader. Okay? I think even that's what Kelce's saying. You get mad because the center is saying exactly what I'm saying, but you just don't like how I'm saying it. Put yourself in Hurts' shoes during the pace of the game being so fast. He needed to focus first because you have seconds to react. Yeah. Okay. Most top flight quarterbacks make those decisions for the entire unit. By the way, I heard someone say that it's not uncommon to have other teams have offensive line make protection calls. You think Creed Humphrey's making protection calls in Kansas City? That's not happening. You think the center in Cincinnati's making protection calls? He's not. You think Matthew Stafford's not making protection calls in Los Angeles? Give me a break. Okay? My man, I didn't say anything about politics. You clicked the wrong comment. All I said was Sills is on I thought you said you're on a orange rampage. My bad, Maniac. Please accept my apologies. I'm sorry, bro. My apologies. Dude, get this. I don't think you know what's crazy? Is that nothing they said, both of them, is wrong. This goes back to, once again, how I look at how they run his development. You're inconsistent in coaching. You're inconsistent in how you developed Wentz. By the way, the Eagles were just as responsible for the failure of Carson Wentz as Wentz's own failures for himself were. It was a 50-50 destruction of Carson Wentz in Philadelphia. But Philly won't take responsibility for that. They'll say he sucked, he's soft. You did the same shit to him you're doing to Hurts. In and out coordinators, not giving full responsibility to the quarterback. This is a control issue. The organization likes to control posters and quarterbacks. There's no difference. You don't think it's a one of. They just control coaches and quarterbacks. They control the entire environment, the media, everything. That's their characteristic. That's their MO. Do you understand this? So when you're talking about Jalen, hey, by the way, Jalen Hurts on Friday has to show up as an all-pro. He has it in a year. He's got to show up. When does the all-pro kick in? You know, you guys want to blame all-pro ability last year because of a coordinator. So wait a minute. Let me get this right. One more time. Heading into Friday, you think Kellen Moore is the right guy. So last year, all that all-pro stuff went away because a guy wasn't making the right play calls, and we saw no all-pro last year at all? I mean, Jesus, really? Okay. I don't buy that. You're an all-pro talent all the time. You may lose football games, and you may not have the right coordinator in the building, and I'm not saying coaching doesn't matter. But enough of the excuses. You gave him a ton of them a year ago. By the way, his equity on excuses are over with. None. There's nothing left. It just proves there is meddling on every level, and it's so dysfunctional under the surface. Why do you think their PR department is so good? Absolutely. By the way, again, too, Jalen was able to overcome all that incompetence of a year ago by posting 11 wins and a solid season where Wentz can't. There lies the difference. No question. By the way, I'm not dumping on Jalen. Growing into being a leader and now having the team under his umbrella and a Hurts team, he's only been in the league as a starter, going into his fourth year. I mean, is that uncommon? Let's say this to you. Was Tom Brady the leader of that football team the first 3 years there? I thought it was more Teddy Bruschi and those defensive guys on that other side of the ball and special teams. And I think there was two facets to Brady's career in New England. I think the veteran guys, the defensive guys were the leaders. And then the second part of that dynasty was all Brady. I don't think Brady was a leader early in his career. I don't think that. Brady developed into being that guy. You know how you develop being into that guy? More confidence, more wins, more big games. So to sit here and go like this, hey, Jalen now has to take the next step. Kelce's not wrong. This is not really a rip. Isn't that crazy how people took this, Bob, as a rip? So let me ask you guys this. Hey, Bob, think of this one. So Jalen Hurts is still learning how to progression read and learn how to read defenses and such. Don't you think growing into being a leader also takes years too and time to develop that asset too of your game, that people will follow you? Hey, certain people have that it factor where they're going to follow them when you walk into a room and you light the room up. And he has that. But just like being a guy who's learning how to read defenses, like Patrick Mahomes is still saying he's learning how to do, and learning how to be. Dude, why is it so off hands to say anything like that about your boy? I find that absolutely asinine. People question Patrick Mahomes at times and his leadership at times. A year ago, 2 years ago, they question it sometimes. They questioned it when he was going after Eric Bieniemy on the sidelines and screaming at his coordinator. Is that becoming of a leader on the Chiefs? And he had to get in the middle of it. How many times you see Peyton Manning screaming at his offensive line and his center, Jeff Saturday? He goes, hey, that was a mistake early in my career. I didn't do that ever again, especially publicly. I mean, dude, look at this guy here moaning and crying and bitching here about pointing out development and leadership and how things are done. What an absolute stupid ass post. It's no bearing in sports. Guy, seriously, you must work at like Baskin Robbins, 31 different flavors, because you know what? No one can make their mind up when they go in that place. It's a perfect place for you to work. Work at an ice cream shop where you sell lollipops or some shit. I don't know. Because it's not anything that you have to put your back into. Playing pro football, like Mike Tomlin says, this is a tough profession. Hey, Slagger goes like this. Hey, Slagger, you're here. This is my show. I don't have to be clickbait. Okay? I don't. Clickbait is when you go somewhere else and do what you're doing, not me. Let's get that right. Okay? Let's get that right. Okay, Slagger? You're here. I'm here because this is my show. Remember that. Sills, absolutely. Leadership is always tested against your experience level and your willingness to take responsibility for the success of others and the failures of others. You know how you know when you have a really good leader? You know how you know when you have a really great leader? Is when he takes accountability and responsibility for his failures. That's when you know you have a great leader. Is when you have people like that. Okay? That's when you have tremendous leadership. It's not when things are going good and you're a front runner. It's when things are going sideways. Okay? Get this. That's a great take, Tony. Okay? Couldn't the reason Jalen couldn't set protections because he couldn't do it? Don't the quarterback set protection in college? No. Troy, excuse me. Troy, you're told where to throw the ball in college. You have to know where to throw the ball, okay, in the NFL. Okay? Here's Prince. You were right about how Kelce and the Eagles hindered Jalen's progress. Kelce is subtly sending the same message, which is why he said, it's your team now. Amen, Prince. Amen. Yes, Prince. And Prince and I don't always see eye to eye, but I see eye to eye with him on this. Listen, taking shots at the media for making it a negative thing, it's not a negative indictment of the guy's overall character. Why does everything in our society today, when you say one thing, it puts you in a sandbox and you encompass everything? That doesn't mean Hurts is not with the ability to lead, not with the ability to win. It was hindering his development as a quarterback and reading defenses. All of that is true. Can he do it? We're going to see. He's never done it. He's been an Eagle for 5 years. This is the first time Kelce's saying that it's his now and it's his time. What's the exact quote? Time now in his career to take the next step. What's wrong with that? What exactly thing that's rubbing you wrong? Is it the way I'm saying it? Okay, get this. This guy is saying that I'm a clown for what? Echoing what Jason Kelce said. So he must think Jason Kelce's a clown. Think about that. This guy Tate thinks Jason Kelce's a clown. Those are his words. Sills, keep one thing in mind with Kelce. O-line are weird to defend their quarterback, wired to defend their quarterback, especially the center. The mindset does not change 9 months after you retire. Kelce is learning too. He is. You're right. He is. You're right, Bob. He's going to learn more. I should take that into consideration. You're right. He's going to learn he's got a long way to go on being a media guy. Exactly 59 minutes to new heights. He says Jalen has to become more of a leader now. He never says a bigger or better leader, like the quote you read. Okay, well, I read that out of CNN. I got that out of CNN. So then again, CNN misquoting, it's kind of par for them. But here, I think the overall thing is that he has to become a better leader now. I mean, become more of a leader. Okay. You can add a better leader or more of a leader, whatever you want to do, more or better. I don't know. Hey, Figueroa, you can use whatever language you want and whatever adjective you want to use. Go right ahead. Okay? Sure. Better leader? Okay? Or become more of a leader. Sure, I'll use that. Hey, how about this, Figueroa? I'll use that. More of a leader now. When you hear Jason Kelce say that Jalen Hurts has to become more of a leader now, well, look at Eagle fan. This guy actually thinks ESPN would hire a guy like me. Are you crazy? That means I'd have to be telling you who to vote for. And I can't do that. Or I'd have to pretend that I'm going for Angel Reese for Rookie of the Year in the WNBA, and I can't do that. Or I have to pretend I'm some woke-ass person that the ESPN gives a shit about and have some sort of like crazy-ass liberal view, and I can't do that because I have Big Sills views. My views aren't liberal or conservative. They're Big Sills views. Okay? Yeah, whatever, dude. Okay? Sills isn't working for Bob Iger. No. Bob Iger, man. He's a funny dude, man. I'll say that to you. He's a funny dude. Jerry Jones shut his ass down. Okay, he did. Let's see here. Sills, you know you're woke. I woke up around 6:45 this morning. That's when I woke up. That's the only thing I know what woke means. Okay? Honest to God. Sills, you're the real deal, brother. And I thank you guys. Listen, absolutely. Hey, man, all you guys are right. It's his team now. No excuses. You have a coach and players. Hey, Prince, I'm so looking forward to tomorrow night for Hurts. It's almost like his first game. Okay? I'm so looking forward to Jalen Hurts tomorrow night. Hey, Philly, thank you. I appreciate that, dude. Guys are cool, man. Guys, thank you. Hey, Big Sills Italian, what do you want from me? You think I'm going to sit here and give you some sort of like cream puff show? We're not doing that. 34, Sills, you know we all love you, but sometimes you get your panties in a bunch when certain things you agree or may not agree, but you're human also. That's called emotional. Jesus. 34, would you really rather have me just be flatline and read you a newspaper every day? You got to get passionate about something in your life, don't you? You got to love something. And I love talking sports to you guys. You guys might not like my delivery sometimes, but Jesus Griminy, at least I'm only going to listen to people who give a shit about things, not who just read me things. I can have anybody read me the newspaper. Now, this is funny. Okay? Now, that's funny. Okie dokie. Now, that's funny. Okay? Sills, here's how I see it. When 5 team captains for this team sit together, one of them is at the head of the table. Last year, it appears to have been Kelce. It's Jalen's seat now. Amen. Absolutely. Thank you guys for the super chats. And Figueroa, thank you. Sills, not your fault. CNN spun that nasty. Okay. And you know what? I'm going to lean more to what you said, Figueroa. Can you, Figueroa, do me a favor? Post exactly the comment that Jason Kelce said, or the word. And I think you said more of a leader, right? Okay. If that came out of his mouth, no matter what CNN or MSNBC or any of those things say when they say that Hurts has to be a better leader. Here, let me give you a headline. I'll just pick one up. I'll just pick a headline up out of a news source. And here, and then if you read it, oh, by the way, these news people have a propensity to change words. There's no question. Okay, here. This is a headline. Here's a headline in a. I just randomly picked this up. Jason Kelce thinks Jalen Hurts needs to be more of a leader amid quarterback's new responsibilities. That's just 1 of 7. Any one of them. Okay? Sills, look at the bright side. You could be a Philly media guy who's always saying what genius Howie is. It makes me puke. Absolutely. Okay? Look at this guy. Stop trying to make controversy. I didn't make the story. Dude, this guy Tate thinks that I make the story so that I can implement myself in it. It's Jason Kelce talking about Jalen. I'm done doing this. Okay? Because I'm not going to sit here and make myself part of that story, even though Kelce did. You're focused more on the defend or OF. I don't know. Let's see here. Kelce believes that Jalen is ready to be a lead dog for the offense. Well, let's do something here, Pickin. I can't wait to see if he can do it. I can't wait. I cannot wait to see if he can do it. Kelce says, quote, time's now in his career to take the next step. Okay. Okay. Okay, what's the news? He doesn't need to become the franchise now. Having guys like Kelce are polarizing. Okay? And you're stuck in the shadows. I'm not sure what the fuck you're talking about. Here's a quote from Kelce. I think he's ready to take the next step. And I think in some ways it's going to help him become a better leader. That's not what I heard too. Okay? That's not exactly what I heard. Okay? Let's see here. Cosmo. Sills, what Kelce said about Hurts, if you're Hurts, does it make you want to be a better player, especially from a player like Kelce? Shouldn't that motivate him? I saw and heard that differently. Let's see. Hold on here. The super chats still said, are you focused on the defense or offense for tomorrow? Thank you, Martin. Apologize. There you go. The defense or the offense for tomorrow. Martin, thank you. I apologize for missing that, please, and not reading it through. Defense for sure. You have a Super Bowl offense and you have a 5-win defense until proven otherwise. You don't get the benefit. The benefit doesn't reside here on defense. The offense, get this, the offense gets the benefit. You got all pros everywhere over there. You don't have one all pro on that side of the ball heading into this season outside of maybe Jalen Carter. The rest of them, there's question marks on every single one of them, including Jalen Carter. You have nothing over there of one player that would be considered in the top 10 at their respected positions. Nowhere. Zero. Carter, yes. Nobody else. And you want me to give you the benefit of the doubt on defense when you have no star players and no good players yet that have been proven to be NFL quality players? That includes your draft choices. Slay? You think Slay playing up? Get this. How about this guy, Will says Slay, who was ahead of the 31st ranked pass defense a year ago. He's giving him the benefit. Jesus, criminy, Will. Man, that's awful big of you. That's awful big of you. Worst pass defense in pro football, maybe the worst pass defense in Eagle history was last year. Jalen can't take a step until he admits he was part of the problem. This is a great take, Troy. You know what, though, Troy? Let's do this. Let's see how he performs tomorrow before we make that assessment moving forward. And let's see what he says after the game. We'll do more of that tomorrow. But for me, I'll give you my prediction tomorrow, not today. Listen, I'll give you my serious prediction. That's right. The first step is tomorrow, right? Hey, Forte, guys, please hit the like button. Forte, right? I agreed with you. Again, another guy who he and I doesn't see eye to eye. Tomorrow's the first step. Okay? Right? It's the next step. Sirianni gave reporters word salad to escape the question about why the players bad talk Brazil. That doesn't shock me. Nick Sirianni has no voice in the locker room. Nick Sirianni has zero voice in the locker room. It's pathetic, actually. The more he talks, the more he looks ridiculous. He should just give one-word answers. Yeah, no, yeah, sure, great. Trying to carve out a place in the locker room for himself has been painful. You know how ESP says that Nick Sirianni's had a great offseason? No, he hasn't, because he couldn't carve out a job title yet. Think about that for a minute. Nick Sirianni still hasn't carved out a job title. Who's that guy that comes on with you, Xander? Mike Gill? Mike Gill brought it up perfectly on the show, Birds 365. What exactly was his job in 2022? I mean, if he was anything involved in that, then he falls apart in 23. What's truly his job? What's been his identity? How do you go from 22 to 23 and you lose the team and you've got no say in the offensive game planning, the play calling anymore? You were hired as a play calling head coach. Think about that. Nick Sirianni got in the doorway because of being a play calling head coach. And all of that has been removed from his job title. How is he still the coach? What quality does he bring? Personally, you look at him, he's a front man for like a mob establishment. It's like a front man. He's like a doorman. What job does he have? Hey, someone tell me the job. He's an administrator? Are you crazy? You think, get this, you know when people say that Nick Sirianni is a CEO coach, you think that Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman are going to have a guy in the building that's going to make decisions for their football team? That's insane. That's insane to think that. It's insane. I mean, look, leadership starts tomorrow for Jalen Hurts. Is he going to show up? I think he's got, get this. Let me throw this at you here. Jordan Love, Mahomes, Lamar, Love, and Hurts. Who has the most pressure on him the next 2 days to win? Jordan Love, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes has no pressure. Or Jalen Hurts to win that, to win. Okay? Lamar isn't better than Hurts. He's done more. Personally, he's got a better resume. Jalen's got a team award. Lamar's got he's got a better resume. Jalen Hurts has the same resume as Brock Purdy and Jimmy Garoppolo. That's it. You take the Super Bowl away, he's got nothing. Nothing. Every time Nick doesn't have any responsibility, the team excels. Great point. 22 Shane, 21 Nick, Shane. I'm just saying, if the same thing happens this year, it could. It could. Absolutely. How about this? Let me ask you this, Philly. You put Jalen Hurts in that Baltimore offense, last year's offense, not the one with Derrick Henry. How well do you think the Ravens do? With no 1,000-yard receiver, no 1,000-yard back, and a decent offensive line. Oh, decent offensive line. How many wins do you think they have? You think they win the AFC home field in the AFC? Do you? Or you put Lamar on that ball, you put that Lamar Jackson on the Eagles offense. How do you think he does? Get this. This guy thinks that Jalen Hurts is going to lead a football team to a Super Bowl when he couldn't even beat the Buccaneers last year. At least Lamar lost to Mahomes in the AFC title game. I mean, what? Are you trying to get this? It's one thing to win. It's one thing to lose to Patrick Mahomes in the AFC title game. It's another thing to lose a Baker Mayfield in a wild card game in Tampa. Okay? Can you imagine Lamar Jackson in Philly? They wouldn't lose a game. There's not one 1,000-yard receiver. They lost the tight end after week 10. They didn't even have a 1,000-yard back. And they won 14 ball games. Second time in his career he's done that, actually. Lamar Jackson will be a Hall of Famer. Jalen be lucky to make the Eagles Hall of Fame. Well, let's see how that plays out. Jalen does good things too, and I think he's a better passer than Lamar. Okay? I think he's a better passer than Lamar is. Okay? Lamar always had a better defense. Make sure everything's perfect for your boy. Steels, I think Baltimore with Hurts would win because the Ravens embrace. Oh, great take. Great take. Great take, Bob. Bob, I bow to you. That's a freaking great take. That's a great take. You're right. They wouldn't be trying to turn him in to Patrick Mahomes. They'd be turning him into Jalen Hurts. It's a great take. You're right on. That's why they hired Todd Monken as the offensive coordinator. They hired an RPO guy for Lamar. You're dead on. Instead of a spread offense, offensive coordinator in Philly. Absolutely. They hired a coordinator in Philly that doesn't fit his skill set. They're changing him. They hired a coordinator, Bob, in Baltimore that fits Lamar's skill set. That is such a great take. That's such a great take. Absolutely. Bob, you're on point there, man. Okay? You're on point. All right. I do think tomorrow's going to tell us a lot. It's going to tell us, has there been too much noise around that team? Okay? Let's see here. That's why I said yes, plus the defense. Baltimore would do the right things for him because John Harbaugh would want it that way. John Harbaugh is a coach that has autonomy, and they would build that team around Jalen. Jalen would win in Baltimore. You're right. He would win in Baltimore. I'll take that back. He would, because Baltimore would do the right thing. Philly's not doing the right thing. I don't want a version of Jalen Hurts the passer. I want Jalen Hurts the version and a better version of 22. But that's not where they're going. Why do you think we harped yesterday on what do you think the play calling differential will be? 40 passes, 20 passes, 15 runs. Are you going to get away from what made you, as Jaw said, physical tomorrow? I think that's all in the sequencing. Tony Pollard didn't run the ball a lot. Dallas didn't run the ball a lot with Tony Pollard. They threw the ball a ton. Kellen Moore's not going to change his stripes that he's come here. And he's not changing to be a RPO or a read option coordinator. That's not why he was hired. He was hired to pick up blitzes, help him in motion, and try to make the offense more spread out. That's passing. The Philadelphia Eagles, if they don't run the ball against the Green Bay Packers on Friday, they're going to get beat handily. Let me ask you something here. What made the Eagles so dominant in 22? Hey, Bob, do you know this off the top of your head? Guys, please hit the like button. I wonder how many rushing attempts the Philadelphia Eagles had in 2022 as a team, and how many rushing attempts they had last year. And that number this year will be significantly lower. The reason they brought in Barkley, and God forbid Barkley gets hurt, and I'm going by the trends. I'd like to know how many rushing attempts they had in 22. The quarterback was on pace for about 180 rushing yards if he had played the entire 17-game season. That's 180 himself. I think Miles had over 220, right? Had over 220. So just between the both of them there, you're talking 400 carries. You're talking 400 carries. 300-some carries, something like that between the two of them, right? Now you're going to take that away. Once again, they're going into this game on Friday, get this. Way to go, Josh. Josh says they ran the ball 544 times. Josh, do me a favor, man. I appreciate this, by the way, Josh. How many times did they run the ball in 2023? I would say maybe 100 carries less. Maybe 100 carries less, 23. Because Hurts didn't run as much. Okay? 510 in 2023. So they took basically almost 45 carries away from the football team, which were significant in 22. Anytime you take rushing attempts and rushing yards away, and how about this one? I guarantee you this, you had 2,000 rushing yards between two guys in 22. Think about this. Miles Sanders had 1,200 yards rushing in 2022. Hurts had like 800 yards, right? So you had $2,000 rushing. Last year, Hurts was at what? 700? And the other guy had what? 1,000? So you took about 400 yards away. 400 yards away from your rushing game last year. Okay? 400 yards less. And they had 13 touchdowns and then another 11. You had 24 touchdowns between the two guys. So you took all those TDs away and you took rushing attempts away. It's going to be interesting to see how they spread the ball out tomorrow. Now, again, on the defensive side, holy cow, this Devin White thing is absolutely a train wreck. And get this, talking to Bruce Arians, it's not a shocker that Devin White blew a gasket and had a problem. He did the same shit with us. He shut down. He said he had an injury, and everything went south after that. This is ridiculous. That guy is a weak-minded player, and last year he had an injury. That's not what the Bucs are saying. I heard John McMullen say he struggled with it all last year. No, he didn't. Bruce Arians said they believed that thing was manufactured by Devin White because he didn't want to play because the contract wasn't being negotiated the way he wanted it negotiated. He didn't have an ankle injury last year. I mean, as soon as he was healthy, a UDFA guy beat him out, KJ Britt. You see what KJ Britt and what Todd Bowles is saying about him? We got a guy in here now that shows up and plays hard, and we don't have to worry about him. Those are words from Todd Bowles. Taking shots at Devin White. I mean, anybody who is saying that White did the same shit a year ago in Tampa. So let me get this right. Devin White was playing and starting the entire training camp, and everyone had kudos to say and things to say how good he was doing. And as soon as he found out he wasn't starting, he got a foot injury again. Come on. Same foot injury as a year ago because the Bucs weren't negotiating in good faith in his eyes. Holy cow, you'll buy anything. You'll buy anything. And get this. So if the guy had an injury a year ago, you think the Bucs are really going to let a guy walk out the door after negotiating a $100 million contract and letting him just walk out a fifth pick in the draft for nothing? It sounds weird, dude. At best, weird. At best. At best. Okay? Hey, by the way, that guy is more prideful in himself. You know, you guys were telling me to watch a podcast, sort of podcast that he was on. Get this, ESP says White is a big loss. How could he be a big loss when he lost his job? So either ESP is lying or Jeff McClain's lying. Someone's lying. Jeff McClain is also reporting that the guy lost his gig prior to the injury report. So who's lying? Dude, it just shows you the confusion that you have in your Philly media. There's a prime example of it right there. ESP. Well, ESP is not really an employee of WIP. He's an employee of the Eagles. Front office is responsible for destroying the Eagles, making players change who they are. No legitimate head coach, poor drafting, lopsided team with no defense, inferior coaching for Hurts, arrogance. And yet, Sam, all those things that you're right on, they win because they do the other things exceptionally. Player contracts, getting guys under contract. The owner wants it this way. Get this. This is Jeffrey Lurie, what Sam's saying. Will that get in the way on Friday? You know what I love about Green Bay? No noise. You know what I love about Kansas City? No noise. For a two-time defending Super Bowl champion, Okay? For a football guy, okay? Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, T said so many guys get arrested. Like they had the wide receiver, and who's the other guy getting arrested? I got the guy who got arrested, Rashid Rice. Who else got arrested? Who else got arrested? I'm sorry, I forgot that one. I missed it. So there were two guys. Tyreek Hill doesn't play in Kansas City any longer. Seals, do you think Green Bay targets when it comes to our defense, linebackers, and coverage? Do they test Quinyon, Rodgers being a bit on the small side against the bigger receivers? Absolutely. This is what I do if I'm Green Bay. I'm attacking with the tight ends and with Josh Jacobs. I'm going to see if they can stop the run. I'm going to run stretch plays at them, and I'm going to attack that middle zone because you're going to be playing too high safety. Your safeties are going to be playing 20 yards off the ball. Your corners are 10 yards off the ball, and you're going to have a middle safety. The linebacking core is going to be essential in this. Are they going to cheat up to help the run game, or are they going to cheat back to help the pass game? If it's me and I'm Vic, I've got to have post-snap design coverages that are going to at least try to confuse Jordan Love. That's the only way, because if you line up and you go a mano, you're going to get killed because you don't have the personnel to line up against a passing offense like that. The receivers are a mismatch across the board physically. They're again, I mean, Slay, if he's still got something in the tank, he probably delivers something for you. But those other guys deliver inexperience and lack of size. Okay? It's Quinyon. Now, Quinyon, that's why he's got to be on the field, because he delivers size and speed. But he doesn't have the experience that Vic wants. That's why he's in the slot. So, again, I'll tell you what, man, I might take my punishment with him at the corner. Why in the world would I put Kelee Ringo out there? Because why? He's bigger? I get it. But I might just take my lumps out there with Mitchell. Dude, if Vic is talking so highly of him, I'm not going to put him in the middle of the field. I'm going to put him on the numbers. Gets beat deep. Okay. Are you afraid the guy getting beat deep? Let me ask you something this. Did the Miami Dolphins put up 70 points on that Denver Bronco defense last year? Well, Patrick Surtain was on that team, and he just got a brand new contract, $24 million a year. So what? You get beat. Good corners get beat. Good corners get beat. Put his ass out there. Let him get the reps. I'll tell you what, I'd rather have him get killed early than late in the year. Put Mitchell's ass out there, man. Stop dicking around, Vic. Put him out there. Get him in there, man. Kelee Ringo and Isaiah Rodgers. Give me a break. Now, again, who you playing in the slot? You're going to be a nickel most of the time with the Packers. Okay? JM goes, they're not running the ball, even though the football team last year gave up 135 yards a game. Really? Bryce Huff can't stop the run. Your coordinator says he's not a three-down guy yet, but you think he can. I'm going to run the ball right at him. That's why they're going to run stretch plays. Get this. That dude really believes that Bryce Huff, when your coordinator saying he's not a three-down guy yet, is going to stop the run and set the edge. You got to be kidding me, JM. What football do you watch? Flag? I mean, Miami got 72 points running the ball. That's scary. Okay? That's scary. Hey, Pickin. Here's the guy that are going to be tested immediately. Here's the guys to keep an eye on in this ball game. You ready? Here's the guys to keep an eye on. Let's write them down. Huff. Run at him. Throw screens at him. See if you can get anybody on the ground. Put him on double teams. You know what I'm going to do with Huff? If I see Huff lining up in the wide side and he comes over to the wide side, I'm going to put a tight end over on him, and I'm going to take the offensive tackle, and I'm going to run his ass into the ground. Let's see how he's handling it in the fourth quarter. Remember, he's a situational player. He's never played 3 downs in his entire career. Let's see if he can do it. Let's test him out immediately. By the way, I'm going to get physical with his ass. I'm going to put a tight end in his face all the time. One, he can't cover him. So I'm going to run right at him. Vic's got to move him. If that's me, I move Huff to weak side. You put a tight end, I'm going to move him. I'm going to put him in a position to succeed, not get killed, worn out. Next guy's Dean. Run at him. He's shown he's not healthy enough as a player to last. Let's just find out first if he can handle the strain of playing against big people. He has never shown that. We don't even know about the ability yet because he's only played 218 NFL snaps. So let's see if he can take the handling of the pressure, because one thing is for sure, he is always hurt. The one thing that's been consistent with Nakobe Dean, he's always hurt. Well, Sills, is he good? I don't know. He's always in the tub. Run at him. Run at him. Okay? Run at him. Guys, please hit the like button. Who's the other guy? I see Quinyon Mitchell. I'm going to go right at him. I'm going to run crossing routes. Does he have the communication skill set as a young player? First game of the year. John Lynch told me something a long time ago about how guys get attacked. Belichick said the same thing. Belichick never attacked a certain side of a defense. You know what he did? I'm down there in Isle Morada with Jimmy Johnson, and Bill Belichick's there. And I asked him a question. I said, Coach, when you're attacking a defense with your offense or vice versa, what's the number one thing you do? He goes, I attack knowledge. Does the guy actually know what he's doing? Does he know what he's doing? Has he seen it before? Is it secondhand to him? He goes, a free agent and a rookie arguably sometimes are the same when it comes to knowledge of what's being asked from that particular coordinator. Different terminology, different type of defense. Now, Quinyon and Cooper DeJean played in zone defenses, so it's not going to be completely foreign to them. But they've never seen – you really think that Cooper DeJean has seen crossing routes like Matt LaFleur, who's a highly skilled head coach, offensive coordinator, and passing routes like that in the NFL? You think he saw them at what, Northwestern? And I saw and I heard that DeJean is going to get some reps. Holy cow. Boy. Okay. I heard it. That he's going to get some reps. Okay? You pick on the young players and you pick on new players. And the Eagles have a ton of them on defense. On the offensive side, this is going to be about a clean game. No turnovers, spreading the ball out. If the Eagles have no turnovers, spread the ball around, and you see a variety of people catching the football, that's going to be a good offensive game for them. Every game that they play in the first half of the season is going to come down to this. If they play a clean game, is that going to be good enough to help the defense stay off the field? The cleaner the game, no turnovers, no 3-and-outs, at least no consecutive 3-and-outs. What you don't want to see is 3 3-and-outs in a row. You put your defense in a bad position, middle of the field, and they only have to go 35 yards to get a field goal or put themselves in a position to get in the red zone. Okay? LaFleur, highly skilled. Yeah. Get this. This is what Senor doesn't get. He developed a quarterback. Oh, no. I said it. No. That's not. Once again, Senor's lying. I said we're going to find out if Matt LaFleur is a great coach or not. And at the beginning of the year, that team was struggling with Jordan Love. And what I said was, I was wrong. This guy has this guy playing at a great level, and he has turned this guy around. You see, the difference between Senor not knowing the difference between me being wrong and LaFleur proving me wrong is not a flip-flop. People are proved wrong all the time, and people are proved right. That's not a flip-flop, asshole. That is being proved wrong or being proved right. You don't hold on to your takes if the guy is improving and gets a $50 million contract. That's not a flip-flop. The guy proved me wrong. He got the money. Lamar proved me wrong. There's a complete difference, okay, in saying that. So, at the end of the day, try to understand something here. That guy got better, and LaFleur has shown me he's a good play caller. Because they went into Dallas and did something the Eagles couldn't do. You know what that is? Beat the shit out of the Cowboys. Let's see here. Green Bay does run a lot of double tight end sets, so they'll see tight ends all night long. And they will open with big chunk plays. Yeah, they're going to open with chunk plays because of this. Those linebackers aren't going to cover that. Those linebackers are not going to cover that. Absolutely. All right. Guys, do me a favor. Xander's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. We appreciate everybody coming aboard. It's the start of the National Football League season, and we are powered by BetUS, and we are so thankful that you guys are here, man. I got to tell you, man, I'm so happy to see pro football. We'll talk about that Chiefs and Ravens game tonight. But if you're looking for a new betting house, absolutely, BetUS is your place. Look, man, 125% bonuses on your first 3 deposits of up to $2,000. 200% on crypto bonuses as well. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Fastest payouts in the business, 24/7 personalized service, live wagering on all major games. And I said it's the home of Michael Vick. Make sure you get there to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Please hit the like button. I'm going to give you my top 10 quarterbacks heading into the NFL season tonight and my top 10 NFL teams. We'll do that. Xander's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. You guys keep it here. Please hit the like button. National Football Show.
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sportsbook and casino.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
He's blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wild would day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Imagine for a moment that you went to work today and when you came home, you were catastrophically injured. Your life and your family's life. That's what happened to union construction worker Mike Little.
I was scared of what the end was going to be, but to be 100% honest with you, I knew I was going to be all right just by talking with Brian. In my heart, I just knew everything was going to be all right.
Call the firm and find out why they say, "We got this." Call 215-458-2222.
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sportsbook and casino.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Please hit the like button. Xander's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. We do have our NFL bold predictions for the upcoming season as well. CBS has their quarterback list out. I have my top quarterbacks versus CBS's top quarterbacks. So we're going to do that. Also, my defensive players of the year, we're going to do a little bit of that here in a second. But who's got more pressure on him Friday, Kellen Moore or Hurts? Moore or Hurts tomorrow? Bob says Moore. No. Hey, got to pick one, man. This is not a fence-straddling show here, homie. You know that. Hurts. Okay, guys. Why does Jalen have more pressure than Kellen Moore tomorrow? I'll tell you personally, for me, he's got to prove he can drive the car with all that gear in it. I mean, you got a lot of you got a lot of furniture in your truck there, Hallman. You got to know how to drive that truck. You just can't go to 2 people here. This can't be predictable. You can't be throwing to 2 dudes. You just can't. It'd be the same shit as I'm going to be interesting to see the throw chart. Will they attack the middle of the field like they didn't a year ago? They didn't go across the middle at all. At all. It was all numbers. And you, of course, you say it's Brian Johnson. Okay. Brian Johnson coaching, what have you. That means Nick too. Okay. So Kellen Moore is going to have to, because this is what he's known for. He's known for sweepers. He's known for progression reading. Okay. Here you're going to see a ton of motion. That's exactly what he's known for. All things Hurts has never done. They'll run sweepers. They're doing them in practice. He's not a progression reader. He's never been. Now he is. Okay. Let's see if he can handle it. And on top of that, setting pass protection. That's on his plate tomorrow. That's not Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore can sit here and draw up the plays. The doctor's got to do the surgery. Right? You can draw up the greatest play in the history of pro football. Put the play down. Player doesn't perform it. What's the use? What's the use of having a great play caller if you don't have a great guy who can execute it? What's the point? That's another great comment here. Yes. This is another great comment. Jurgens is on the hot seat too. Oh, yeah. He sure is. Because I'll tell you what you're going to see with Jurgens. I like that. Sills, who said that? Hey, repost that. I think somebody said, Sills, what do you think Hurts does best that you like? I don't think Jurgen stinks. I do not. I think he's going to be a really good football player. Who posted that? I said, Sills, what do you think Jalen does well? Sills, what does Hurts do well to you? Boy, man, when he gets the ball and he is in that RPO, he is one hell of a defense. You can't defend him. He's undefensible. 3rd and 11, 3rd and 20. He's undefensible. When he is there and he's got that ball in his hand in an RPO, exactly. He's like Magic Johnson. There's nothing like that. I've never seen a player in my life run an RPO that can throw the ball like him and make defenses shiver when he runs those RPOs. He is electric, undefensible, an MVP candidate. I mean, and he just undefensible. He's a one-of weapon. And he does look better than Lamar when he's in that RPO. Unbelievable. Now, when he's in a spread offense and a progression reading offense and a drop back offense, I don't see that same fear. And I don't have – Jalen Hurts doesn't frighten me as a passer. Jalen Hurts frightens me as a defender, as an RPO guy. I can't defend it. I don't have enough people to defend him. I just don't have enough. And the thing that I'll be complaining about soon will be if that guy stumbles around on Friday and you're getting further away from that electric player, that's my bitch. You didn't pay him for the guy you're rolling out Friday night. I don't understand how you don't buy that. You didn't pay for that. You did not pay for $250 million of a progression reading quarterback. African Surf, do you agree? You did not pay for that. That's not what you're paying for. They tried changing him a little bit last year, and it was a disaster in turnovers. It was a disaster. You know why he couldn't figure out what to do to save the team? Because he had never been in that position before as a passer. I mean, but when he, like here, I'll say this to you. When in 22, when it was 3rd and 11, I think I've told you this numerous times. When he was in 3rd and 11, hey, African Surf, when he was in 3rd and 11, I used to turn and look at people and go, he's picking this up. They can't defend that. They just can't defend it. I can't defend it. Okay, I mean, tremendous. You can defend Jalen Hurts, what you're doing now with him. Well, look at all the talent. I know. I've seen teams with a lot of talent on there before. I've seen them not go anywhere. Especially because, hey, get this. If you guys had a respectable defense, you're probably going some places. Even if you limp out of the gate offensively. But you got to play a perfect offensive game on Friday to win. Because your defense won't. See, your 22 defense was exceptional. 23 defense for a half year was decent. Then after that, it fell apart because the offense fell apart. I mean, A.J. Brown didn't have a 100-yard catch final 8 games of the season. The offense was just as responsible for his defense, plus the coordinator changes. And the panicking. They panicked. Organization panicked. A good coach doesn't panic. You see, that's where Nick doesn't have again. You know what the problem becomes also when things, say on Friday, look, there's going to be a moment in the game where there's going to have to be some decision making. Okay, who makes that decision? Kellen? Nick? Vic? You got 3 head coaches. Too many Chiefs and not one major dude. Okay? I mean, who makes that call? well, we're not getting this done. Remember what Jason Kelce did last year? Hey, guys, was it the Minnesota game? Guys, please hit the like button. Was it Jason Kelce? Was it Minnesota that he went like this? Let's run the ball. Come on, let's run it. Wasn't that him that did that? Was it the Minnesota game? Or was it another game? I forget what game it was. But Kelce just said, let's run the damn thing. Let's just run it. Run it down their throat. When the Eagles run the ball, they're effective and they are dominant. When the Eagles don't, they become passive. Last year, the Eagles lost their aggressiveness and they became a passive team because they were throwing the ball more. Hurts threw the ball almost 550 times. The year before that, he threw it 430, 460. I mean, didn't run it as much. Okay. Stefan, was it the Viking game? Thought it was. It was Lane that did that? Okay. Running the ball should be their safety net. And you're right, Sills. They lost it last season. They weren't an aggressive football team last year. Jaw said it too on WIP this week. He said they became a finesse team. He hopes they get their aggressiveness back. Can you imagine that? Saying that you don't have aggressiveness on defense and offense. Because you don't have with that high cover 2 safety defense. That's not an aggressive defense. That's a bend but don't break. That's not physical. And you became non-physical on offense by not running the ball. Get this. Think about this. Jalen Hurts had, what was it? Like 780 yards in 22? Was it something like that? And Sanders had almost 1,300 yards. You had $2,000 between two people. You had $2,000 and 25 touchdowns. $2,000 and 25 touchdowns between two people in 22. Think about that. Look at the yardage you had. Okay? So once again, we'll see what they do. And by the way, you didn't sign and give Saquon Barkley $10 million because Hurts is going to run more. Okay? You paid a guy $10 million because you're going to have your quarterback run less. Brandon says this. Hurts is healthy now, similar to 22 unlike last year when he only won 11 games. Only won 11 games? Hey, I'd like to have my situation where, guess what? I didn't have a really good year and I won 11 games. That's still pretty good. Okay? Actually, pretty dynamic. It is going to be, for me, the pressure tomorrow is Jalen. That'll be the pressure tomorrow. I think the pressure's on Hurts. And especially with all the quarterbacks, I think the pressure's on Lamar to win tonight. Because you know what? Dude, there's something about doing this. When someone has your number, and Lamar's got to show to his teammates that he can win huge games. Not just you. Hey, if you can't win a game like Kansas City in the opener tonight, how are you going to win an AFC title game? When you win and are in big games. Hey, we're going to get Xander on here in a second. You know why Alabama was so great? You know why they were so great? Because they played in big games every single weekend. So when you play in big games all the time, that's Kansas City. That's Kansas City. Kansas City's always in big games. All right. Really a great show today on Birds 365. Those guys did a great job. I forgot to promote this even better, but we got some really great news coming up here. Guys, I tell you what, I haven't done something like this in probably, God, since 98 when I worked for the Oakland Raiders. And it was a really great honor working for the Raiders and Al Davis. And I didn't diligently cover a team like that as an analyst, and I haven't done it. And I've turned numerous gigs down, Dolphin jobs and Bucks. I did a little bit with the Bucks, I won't lie. I did a little bit with the Bucks when I was on the flagship of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, WDAE. But obviously, new platform here. And so let's bring in the co-host of Birds 365. That is Xander Kraus. And we are so looking forward to it. Xander, I appreciate it, brother. How you doing?
What's up, Big Sills? How you doing, brother? Good to be here. Football tonight, Sileo. Can you believe it?
No, man. I can't. It's fine. Get this. It's finally here, man. I mean, the entire offseason, all the things going ping-ponging back and forth. Now we get an opportunity to see some ball tonight. And football that matters. And get this, you're in Arrowhead. It's the 105th season of the National Football League. And then you turn around tomorrow and you've got Packers and Eagles from Brazil too. So without further ado, though, I want to get to this news here. And I'm going to be part of the JAKIB Sports postgame show tomorrow and throughout the season. And we're looking forward to all of you joining us because it's been one of the best postseason shows in Philadelphia. I don't think there's one that rivals it. And we're going to be part of that. And we were asked to do that. Actually, for the last couple of years, Xander and Joe have been trying to figure out a way for us to make this all happen. And now we've been able to make this thing happen. And I'm looking forward to it, Xander. Thank you so much, man, for inviting me in. And I know it's one of your signature shows, too, besides both of ours. And I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, I can't wait, Big Sills. Having you on the post game is going to be an unreal thing. You're going to be the star of the show as you are on the channel. And it's really a big move for JAKIB to invest back in the people that make this channel the channel. We've had, obviously, a show in the past that many have liked and have tuned in for and has gotten great ratings. But at the end of the day, the people that make JAKIB are not those people. The people that make JAKIB are you, are John, and are now myself. And that's what it's going to be comprised of. I cannot wait to do it. It's going to be an unbelievable season, I think, this year. And just talking to you is just going to be an amazing thing. So I'm really looking forward to everything that we have coming for the season. It's going to be a great time.
It's a different approach doing shows like that than doing shows like this. Okay.
Yeah, no
I
doubt.
mean, that there, you really are more on what you saw and kind of what you think is going next and what's going to happen next. So, this show is more opinionated. That show is more of like when you do a pre and post, what to expect. And then after, you're kind of doing, okay, what happened? And then you go from there to what's next against Atlanta. So we're looking forward to doing that. So it's a different execution. So throw up. Hey, do we have any graphics for this thing? I want to see it, man.
Yeah, I got some good stuff. It's going to be the JAKIB post game show featuring Dan Sileo, John McMullen. You'll hear from John McMullen as we do every single week from the locker room. He won't be in Brazil this week. So it's kind of a different setup this week because it's a Friday night game and it's coming out of the week show. So it's a little bit different this week, but I do have, the logo and stuff I'll toss up there. I just got to get it loaded up. I have like multiple computers here, so I got to get everything loaded up. I've been busy like a madman. So no, it's great though, man. Look, people, Dan, whether they love you or they hate you, they can't wait to hear what you have to say when something happens on this football team. And to have you on after the games, like Forrest says right here, raw and uncut, it's going to be unbelievable. It's going to be phenomenal. And we're going to hear from Dan. We're going to get me a little bit in there, my opinion, after the game, kind of in the heat of the moment. I can't wait to do that. And then we're going to get John, our objective Eagles reporter, who will be at most of the games. He's not in Brazil, obviously, right now, but it's going to be a great time, man. I can't wait to do it. I can't wait to talk to all the people in the chat. As Flexen points out, nobody's bigger than the chat. So I can't wait to do it, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a different avenue for JAKIB than what we've done in the last couple of years. But and many people will potentially could criticize that. And I don't view it like that at all. I view it as a beautiful opportunity to step into the new era of JAKIB Sports. And like I said, we're investing back in our own people, the people that make JAKIB Sports run, not the people who are here for a 2-hour show or for, what I mean? Like, this is Big Sills is JAKIB. John McMullen is JAKIB, and that's what it's all about. So I can't wait to do it. It's going to be a great show. And I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a great time.
Here is the one thing that I think will be 100% different than anything that JAKIB has done, which will be something that Xander, myself, John McMullen all know. It's one thing to sit behind a microphone at a desk, wherever. It's another thing to make the viewers and the people that chime in and engage with you. That's one thing we'll be doing differently than what happened in the last couple of years here when it came to the post-game show, is that, listen, if you guys have an opinion on what you saw, we're going to bring that up as well. That's going to be something that's going to be implemented that wasn't implemented by any of the analysts that they have had. And so they're going in a different route to where, get this, you guys are the people that made the channel. Okay. It's one thing for Big Sills to have a fiery topic or a big mouth. It's another thing to have people be engaged in that. And so to me, I think that's a great avenue that, folks, the only way that we grow and the only way that we get bigger is because you like what we're saying. And sometimes you like what we're not saying, or you don't like what we're saying. And you guys can bring that up. This will be the only post-game show and pregame show in Philadelphia that you have a say in what you saw as well.
Exactly.
That's different. You would never get on WIP or The Fanatic or whatever any other show to have an opinion on what you saw. It matters to us because you know why? You guys are content for us. I can't tell you, I could never
do more than
show.
Content too. They're, I mean,
no, they're family.
They really are. It's funny. Like, I don't know what these people look like. Most of them. I know Bob Brown. I know what you look like. And my man, Mad Bird, I know what you two look like. Because if you guys missed that, I had them on the show one time. But they're like family. I love talking football with these guys every day. It's the voice of the fan. It's the voice of anybody that has a different opinion. You're not neglected here. You're not blocked. You're allowed to disagree with us. You're allowed to have a different opinion. And I think it's a beautiful thing. We are really I'm trying to create a show here with you and with John and with myself that is really next level in terms of the future of what media is going to look like. And as you point out, Sills, we can sit here and speak and think it's all us, all we want. It's not about us. It's never been about us. Nope. It's about the fan. It's about the people in our chat right now that make this channel work, that make this thing happen. And their opinions are more important than ours. And I love them all. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys for being here. And I can't wait to go through this football season, man. It's going to be an unbelievable season. And I'm really looking forward to it, Sills.
You know what, Xander and Jason, and I appreciate that very much. Thank you, Jason. You know where I got the mentality from was reading Angelo's book. And I said it to Angelo this week, earlier in the week. I said, you know what makes Philadelphia sports so great? It's not the stations. It's not the host. It really isn't. Because you guys can have anybody behind the mics. What makes it is the fans. I tell you this, there is no better fan base than the Eagle fan base, and get this, NFL fan bases. I don't care what the sport is. NBA are losing ratings like you wouldn't believe. Major League Baseball is regional. College football is enormous. I think it's the second biggest sport in America next to pro football. But there is no question. Eagle fans, NFL fans, all the people around the country, James Jones, your Commanders, obviously, are going to be front and center, except for your VP of content. I have no idea what that thing was. Holy shit. Was that thing a train wreck? Calling Goodell a puppet and then calling Jerry Jones racist? You might not keep your gig long.
Yeah, he's gone, right? Yeah, I saw that. That was funny. But no, it's going to be great, man. I can't wait to do it. I can't wait to talk to you after each and every single game. Like I said, it's going to be little different this week, right? Because it's coming off a Friday show. Yeah. So, but anyway, it's going to be a great time. I can't wait to do it. I can't wait to welcome everybody in. I see Bob. Bob's giving me a great idea, Bob. And you know, Bob, maybe I'll do like a post game show. Xander says, if you were calling on the post game, nobody else does that. JAKIB redefines. I'd love to do that. The problem is, Bob, we're going to be tight on time on that show with a 90-minute or so show. But I'm thinking maybe Xander will go live after the post game show and bring on some of you guys as the real voice of the fan on the channel. And that would be a great time. I'd love to do that. Bob, here's the problem. The last time I offered somebody to come on the channel and I dropped the link, it was crickets. Everybody went crickets all of a sudden when they had a chance to talk. So if nobody's shy and everybody wants to come on, I think that would be a fantastic thing. Great idea there, Bob.
Yeah, and this will be a problem.
Prince, you're going to have to help me with that, Prince. You guys are all going to have to help me keep Big Sills away from the booze, after the games.
Hey, Windy City, I'll make a pledge to you. I promise one thing. Windy City, I just saw it. If Caleb Williams throws for 30 touchdowns, I'll paint my fingernails pink.
Oh, that's a tough one there, man. He's got a lot of receivers down there. He didn't even have to be that good to throw for 30 touchdowns.
But get this, no Bear quarterback has ever thrown for 4,000 yards in the history of the franchise. So if that guy throws for 30 touchdowns, Windy City, you have a bet with me. I will paint my fingernails because they will be in fashion on Rush Street in Chicago. I will paint them pink for you. How's that for you, bro? All right. If Jalen Hurts throws for 30 touchdowns, I don't know yet. I have to figure that one out. Let me get into the topics here now. But again, we will be part of something we haven't done since 1998 when I was the pre and post game analyst for the Oakland Raiders. And I was hired by Al Davis. And again, like I told you, I've turned a ton of this. I don't do every job that gets asked me to do. I just don't. And I value my weekends and my family time. And my wife even said it. She's like, listen, man, you're helping, you're here. You and JAKIB are synonymous now. So I'm like, yep, you're right. And she's like, let's do it. So
I just want everybody to know, factored into the contract with Sileo was the extra stipend for him not being able to drink Coronas on Eagles game day. He said, whoa. Forget the work.
Oh, hey, that was a tough negotiating.
You're telling me I can't drink Coronas during the game? I said, Sileo, no Coronas. So he gave us a little extra bump in the number when he heard that. So you guys got to help me hold him to it.
Let me tell you this, man. That was a big time negotiating thing,
yes,
man.
I mean,
we got settled on a number.
We were more hung up on Coronas than we were.
Yeah, you got hung up on Coronas and the amount of Coronas, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I think I don't know here, man. All right, let's get into some topics. So again, we're going to be doing the pre and post game tomorrow, and so that's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll be doing it throughout the season. Now, hey, get this. Do I amend it now? 9-8, because I gotta hope this thing goes into the Super Bowl. I want a couple extra weeks. Hey, you know what?
14-3, baby. Let's go, Sills.
All right, guys, we appreciate that. Please hit the like button. All right, Xander. So let's start with the obvious here. So Kelce comes out, and I don't know. I think he's taking shots at me because I don't know of any other media person that was making it bigger that Jalen Hurts. And I know that you were part of that too when you said that leadership need to be shown here a little bit. But I don't want to pollute the question to you. What was your takeaway when he fired back on his New Heights podcast saying he thinks the media made it more than it was, but yet then he turned around and said, and let me give the quote here, time now in his career to take the next step.
Well, listen, I love Jason Kelce. You'll never hear me say anything bad about him. I think he was an unbelievable figure here in a long time. But the truth is the truth. Jason Kelce still basically works for the Eagles. You see, he's going to be on the flagship station of the Eagles once a week now. He says he's still going to be in the locker room every week. So listen, Kelce is going to do whatever he has to do to stand up for the organization. And to be honest, I don't have a problem with that. Right? He was here for however many years. He was an all-pro center. He won a Super Bowl here in Philly. He gave the iconic Super Bowl parade speech. I got no problem, but I'm not going to, Kelce's going to back the organization no matter what happens. And I'm good with that, but that's the reality of it. So I still love you, Jason. You are the man. As Andre says, Jason is Philly. So he will support this team no matter what, but I do think you're right. I do think it was a little bit of a shot at Big Sills, who, kind of sounded the alarm on the comments more so than most others did. And we got a lot of shit for it, by the way. Our comment section was not pretty over the weekend. I was reading the comments over the weekend. I'm like, oh boy, these people are not happy with Sills and I. Because me too. People were ripping me in the comments too. But no, you're right. I think you brought up a good point. I think it was valid. But Jason Kelce is not gonna, he's gonna take the side of the organization no matter what, as he should.
Hold on here for a second. Hey, Cornell, I never said I was a fan of the Eagles. I'm a fan of you. I'm a fan of Eagle fans.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay. And I'm becoming more of a fan of covering the team. But I've said that for 4 years. How can I come on here and pretend that I was an Eagle fan? I've never been really a fan of any NFL team except for one, the Giants, when I grew up, because my uncle's a Hall of Famer for the team. Other than that, team I played for and the other team I played for. I mean, I don't know where you got that from. That's not who I am. That's why you can't take Big Sills, because you know what we do? We give you a fair and objective Big Sills take on your team. Let's move on here to this. Who's got more pressure on him tomorrow? Kellen Moore or Jalen Hurts?
Well, I'd say Jalen Hurts. I mean, Kellen Moore has some pressure, no doubt. But look, all things start and end with the quarterback on a national football team. That's how it goes in this league, especially when you're in Philly. And Jalen Hurts got that big contract. They went 1-6 down the stretch the last year. Kellen Moore wasn't here for that. So if he comes out and shits the bed, in this opening game, I think the pressure is going to be on Jalen Hurts. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Hurts is going to have a good night. By the way, I think it's a total mismatch with that new defensive coordinator. I'm blanking on his name right now, but the guy that the Packers picked up, he's an aggressive guy, came from Boston College. I think it's Halfley, his name is. But Kellen Moore has been in the league. He's been calling plays in this league for 4 or 5 years. He's had 2 number 1 offenses in the league. I think it's going to be a mismatch. I know they're going to bring the blitz heavy, but look, they've had all summer to prepare for this, Kellen Moore and Jalen Hurts, both of them. So I think they're going to be ready. I think they're going to answer the bell. I think it's going to be a little bit of a shootout tomorrow night, which does make me a little nervous because, I think Jordan Love is the kind of quarterback that wants to be in a shootout. He's a pass happy guy. He's got a great arm, the great thrower of the football. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, I think tomorrow night's going to be a great game. Look, I've said that this team's going to win 13 games. When the schedule came out, I had them 13-4. I recently upgraded my prediction of 14-3. I have always thought that this Packers game was a tough game. I really do. So we're going to see how it goes, but I do think it's going to be an uphill battle for especially the Eagles defense, but the offense too. I mean, I think it's going to be a tough game.
Remember when I said Keely Ringo was going to be your starter at corner 2?
Yeah.
I think Isaiah Rodgers is out tomorrow.
Oh, really? Let me double check that news.
Okay. I mean, that could possibly be why that Keely Ringo has been put in the starter's position. Because
he's ruled out. Isaiah Rodgers has been ruled out with a hand injury.
Big Sills again with the thing coming out there with Keely Ringo. Nobody knew that, but Big Sills. How you doing, folks?
Look, Big Sills, you were on it yesterday. I said to John this morning, would it surprise you to see Keely Ringo out there? I heard rumblings Keely might get the start. John said no. I mean, they got physical receivers, but he hasn't heard it yet. So Big Sills, first again, baby.
A friend
Isaiah's
of mine,
out, and that means Keely Ringo's in. By the way, I like that matchup.
I like that too. Yeah. I think that's better.
Keely Ringo's our most physical corner. He's our biggest corner.
He's your biggest.
You look at these Green Bay receivers, man. They're young, but they're big and physical. Who's gonna cover Christian Watson? I still don't know. That's a tough matchup.
And I think the tight end is going to be a tough matchup for the linebackers as well. So think about that news now. Hey, I'll give you guys a little insight. I saw the depth chart on Tuesday, and I was like, first thing I did, Xander, I looked at it. Look, I printed it. I went like this. Keely Ringo starting at corner? I went, well, okay, so Isaiah must have got hurt somewhere, okay, during practice or something. Because, again, I was like, why would that be like that? And then I started seeing it. And by the way, it's listed on the NBC Peacock website too, that Ringo was starting last night. And I went like this. I said, holy shit. I was like,
here's the weird part about this, Sills, because they keep doing it with injuries. I hate to be the conspiracy guy, but are they actually injured? Like Devin White.
Oh, I think Isaiah's hurt.
You think Isaiah's hurt with the hand?
You know what?
Look, like I said, I don't think you're
Yeah.
allowed to lie. So if they got caught in a lie, they'd be punished. And I'm not saying they are lying. I'm just saying it is weird how, each player we've projected might not start.
Isn't it weird though? They flew Isaiah Rodgers down with the team, and they didn't fly Devin White down.
Maybe this is real, and it is the hand, and maybe they were hoping he was going to be ready by the game, and he's not. So he is down there in Brazil with the team. He flew with the team, obviously, but no Isaiah Rodgers tomorrow night. A lot of people have been high on that guy in the offseason. So look, Keely Ringo, it's your time.
I'm okay with it though. I'm
all right with it. I mean, look, these are
Hey, by the way, then wait a minute. Wouldn't you just put Mitchell out there?
I would, but Keely's not going to play the slot, and also it actually works in this week 1.
Now I see why DeJean said yesterday he's going to get playing time, because yesterday they put a mic in front of him. I posted that video.
Yeah. Who'd you say, Cooper DeJean?
Cooper DeJean's going to get playing time because he said, "I've been told I'm playing tomorrow night." So he's going to get time in the slot. Now here's the problem though, Xander. He didn't play a lot in exhibition season, man. I mean, you're going to roll him out there against Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur. Boy, that's kind of dangerous.
Well, Keely did play. Cooper DeJean didn't at all.
That's what I'm saying. Cooper.
Yeah, so Cooper, I don't know, man. He didn't show much, obviously, so far. And you heard Vic Fangio talk about him. It wasn't really great. So, see, I'm with JM. I'm with JM here.
Yeah,
where he says, why not put Q outside, Quinyon Mitchell on the outside, and put Maddox in the slot? Look, I know Maddox gets hurt a lot, but his knock has never been his ability. He's always been a very good slot corner.
Absolutely. He got a contract extension.
When he was at his peak, he was one of the best slot corners in the league.
Yep.
So you're going up against these 4 receivers, 4 or 5, really, John pointed out. There's a 5th one that's not bad either from Rutgers. I don't know. I'd want to get the most amount of, not only talent, but experience out there as possible. And that's, I keep thinking about what you've been saying all offseason, Sills. I'm super excited for Quinyon Mitchell. I'm even super excited for Keely Ringo.
Yep.
But to expect them to be great in week 1, I think is an uphill battle. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
A lot of inexperience in your secondary going into this ball game.
No doubt.
Okay. Huge question marks now at the line. You got huge question marks at the linebacker position and now in your secondary. And by the way, don't you feel now, get this, that Bradbury injury now becomes even more significant why you kept him on the team, because you lose Isaiah. First you lose Bradbury. Now you're questioning what to do at the corner position now. Do you put Q out there? They can't put Quinyon Mitchell out there. They've got to put him. But I'm with you. How come Avonte Maddox is not being put in the slot here? Why not? Why do they want Mitchell over him? I would play Avonte. He's more experienced in the slot.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. It doesn't seem like they're going to go that route, obviously. But
no, they're going to put Mitchell in the slot.
Well, they're pigeonholed now because now they don't have Bradbury at safety, so they got to keep some depth at safety. They do have Cooper who can be a backup slot. I'm with JM though. I would put Maddox in the slot here and hope the safeties stay healthy and can be out there for the full game. I think they will, but obviously we're going to see. So I don't know, man. It's an uphill climb here with this defensive backfield, especially against this offense. I think a lot of people are sleeping on how good this Packers team is. I think they're a good team.
I think there's a lot of people are picking them to go to Super Bowl.
I know. I think they're a solid team, man. So don't sleep on this team. We got to get out there and start fast and hopefully get on the board early with the offense, no doubt.
What are you looking forward to seeing tomorrow with Hurts?
I'm looking forward to see what it looks like with Kellen Moore. Is it a completely new look in Jalen? Is there some RPO? How much does he run? Like what? Remember how we talked about this is going to be a more pro style offense for Jalen Hurts? I want to see what that looks like. Is it actually going to be that? And if it is that, how does he look in it? How is he managing the game? How does he look? How does he look as more of that drop back passer? Do they line him up under center more often? All of these things, as the progression of the quarterback. And then you obviously have to look at the big story of the offseason is, he's picking up the progressions. He's picking up the protections and the defensive reads. So how does he do with that? And then the answering of the blitz is the next thing, which, this Hafley guy, Jeff Hafley, I think his name is the defensive coordinator. He's an aggressive guy. They asked him how he's going to call his plays. I think he quote said, "I'm going to let it rip."
Yeah.
So this is a guy, look, he knows the book on Jalen right now, whether you love Jalen or not, the book on Jalen for opposing defensive coordinators is pressure, is blitzes, and it's that zero blitz. They're going to bring it. They're going to make him prove he can beat it. Will they be able to do it? That's going to be top of mind tomorrow as we watch that game.
To me, the number one thing I'm going to do, you've got to be, it's got to be a number one priority tomorrow for that defense on Vic's side, that those two tackles have to stop the run. Because here's what the key is going to be. If they can't stop the run, those linebackers have to move up, and that zone becomes bigger. It becomes bigger. Now, if they stop the run, Xander, which I'm thinking they're going to, because I think they're more dominant than the Packer interior offensive line. I think they have the advantage there, okay? That means those backers, Bond, and by the way, how much has Bond played actually as an every down player and an inside linebacker like that? I mean, isn't this going to be like extensive work for him in this game tomorrow night?
He has not played much off-ball linebacker. So, look, it's good. You know, we got, like you said, Sills, you've been talking about it all offseason, man. We got a lot of questions on this defense. They're either going to answer the bell or we're going to have major concerns coming out of week one. So, a lot to watch tomorrow night, man. A lot of excitement about this team. And, you know, we got a lot of good storylines going into the game, too, with the defense and I think the offense, too.
I'm going to be looking forward to tomorrow and how they use Barkley too. I think Barkley's number one or two assets that they're going to use him on are checkdowns and pass probe. I don't know, Xander. What's crazy for me is that, to me, I want them to run the ball. I don't believe they're doing this. I just don't. There's too much money in critical positions that you're just not going to have any time in that game where Kenny Gainwell is going to be a guy on 3rd and 6, and you hand the ball to him. I don't want Kenny Gainwell to have the ball on the money down on 3rd and 6. I want one of the big money guys to have the ball in their hands, and I want one of them guys, Barkley, AJ, Devontae. I'm going to see also how Kellen uses that slot, because if they are going to try to spread the ball around, and you're going to see the sweepers that he's known for, Kellen Moore, and you're going to see the motion that he's known for, how are you going to handle that third position, wide receiver 3? Are you going to put AJ in there, and how are you going to put Devontae in there? To me, I think it's going to be interesting to see how he makes these combinations tomorrow night. Kellen Moore.
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to be very interesting because, you know, they do have they have that really, really a good cornerback one with Jair Alexander, which I'm not saying he's going to take A.J. Brown out of the game, but does that open up more opportunity for them to look to Dotson, to look to even Devontae? You know, that's a tough task for that corner who's covering Devontae Smith. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I have a weird feeling though, Sills, Barkley's gonna ramp up a little bit slower than we're thinking. I don't think they're gonna come out of the gates with him fast. And I don't mean in the game. I more mean in the season.
Like a pitch count?
Not a pitch count, but I don't think they're gonna put too much onus on him in week 1 or really even week 2 or 3. I think they want him playing his best football after Thanksgiving. And I think they know what he's had, how many carries he has, how much tread he has on the tires. I think it'd be wise to do that. Doesn't mean they're going to, but that's my gut feeling right now is that they ramp it up slower with Barkley than people think. And I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I think they got plenty of weapons, and they'll be good to ramp him up slowly. Might even use Kenny Gainwell more than we're thinking.
Couple more questions for you here. Do you think there's been too much noise around this team this offseason?
No, it's Philly. That's what happens, man. This team, look, like we talked about when we were announcing the postgame show with featuring Dan Sileo, the star of the show. You know, we talked about how great these fans are. We have a passionate fan base, a passionate city. This isn't just a team to these fans. It's our life. You know,
no, it's a civic pride thing.
It's our lifestyle, like being a fan of this team. So, you know, when stuff happens, people react and they make some things bigger than they need to be. I'm guilty of it. You're guilty of it. We all are. But at the end of the day, that's Philly. Like Jack Straw says, it's a way of life. And I don't think it's too loud. I think for anybody that's followed our team, that's played for our team, they understand what comes with it, you know, and maybe some of the new guys are learning that really quickly. Holy shit. These guys care about everything, even in the middle of June. But look, that's how it goes here in Philly. I don't think it's been too loud at all.
How about this? Jerome told me a story once that he lived with Keith Jackson and Keith Byers and they got in the house, and both of them, one was from Columbus, Ohio, and obviously played at Oklahoma for Keith. And he said this, that you could turn a football game on, and one of them was hurt, and he was at home, and every house that you passed, you heard the Eagle game for the entire block.
Yeah, it's true.
Everyone, he goes, you didn't miss a play when you just went out and walked your dog, man, because everyone's got the game on.
I live that same thing because I'll take the dog out. I'll watch the dog. Even right now with the Phillies, you walk by and you can see everybody's TV through their window, and you see the Phillies on. So no, it's a passionate city, man. It's one of the. I would say it's the best sports city in the world. I really would. I think it's that good of a city. The fans are that strong. They're that passionate. They care that much. It's a great city, man. It really is.
Couple last ones here for you, but don't forget, speaking of that tonight, because I want to ask Xander about tonight's game, and I'm going to tell you we can do this as well here. Our friends at BetUS were very excited about this. Brand new betting house here. If you guys are looking for it, this is your place. JAKIB has now teamed up with BetUS for you guys to be able to have 125% bonuses on your first 3 deposits of up to $2K. Simple as that. Also, 200% in crypto bonuses, the home of Michael Vick. You guys are absolutely going to love our friends at BetUS. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. 24/7 personalized service. Fastest payouts in the business and live wagering on every single major game tonight. Tomorrow, the Eagles and Packers, college ball on Saturday, and, of course, Sunday and Monday football right here on BetUS. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. And do me a favor, tell them Big Sil sent you.
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sports book and casino.
Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. You guys have been sensational as always. Very proud to now be part of the pre- and post-game show for JAKIB. That'll be tomorrow following our program, so we're looking forward to that. With that being said, tonight football, 105th edition of the National Football League tonight. It's from Arrowhead, second year in a row. They're going to drop the banner. What do you like tonight?
I like the Chiefs tonight, Sills. It's tough for me to bet against Andy and Patrick. And look, you're talking about an off season of preparation right now. And how long have they known the Ravens was their first game? I got the Chiefs tonight. A lot of people are taking the Ravens. I think the Ravens are the better football team. I think Lamar struggles again versus Mahomes and falls. What is he, 0-3 versus Mahomes? A lot of people are saying he needs that first signature win versus him. I think Mahomes and Andy take it tonight. I think they have just the better coaching. I just like the team more. I think the Chiefs win it tonight for sure.
How about this? I'll ask the question one last time. You got the Chiefs winning a 3-peat, or are you taking the field?
I mean, it's the easy bet is to take the field, right? There's 31 on.
I don't know about that, dude. I don't know, man. This guy's a special player, man. I mean, every time I bet against him, he wins it. This guy has Brady all over him.
A 3-peat? That's a tough sledding, man. I'm going to take the field. Look, I projected, though, that it would be Eagles Chiefs in the Super Bowl on the show the other day. Not in a real, official way, but just somebody said, I think these two teams could be competing. And I went and said, I think it's going to be the Chiefs and the Eagles, my early gut. That means the Eagles would win the Super Bowl if they lost the Super Bowl, the Chiefs. So, 3-peat Sills.
Oh, man.
You think they get there?
I'm going to say no. I just
I'll tell you what, if they go 3-peat right now, you could argue Mahomes is equivalent, equal to Brady or better. Yeah.
Because
talent, I think he's already. I mean,
well, no, it's like the comment when you say about Tiger and Nicholas, you go like this: Tiger's a better player, man. Nicholas has a better resume, but when you look at the eyeball test, would you do this if you had to start your football team? Well, if you had to start your football team with these two guys, Brady or Mahomes, who would you start with? Who would you start your team with?
I'm gonna pull a Jason Cole on you. I'm gonna say I'll take Brady, but I reserve the right to change my answer at a later date. I got to go with Brady right now, but boy, I'll tell you what, if Mahomes goes out there and 3-peats, Oh my Lord, that
Man.
would be unbelievable.
One of the greatest accomplishments in NFL history.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever been done to three-peat.
It's not.
I don't.
Been a bunch of teams. The Packers won 3 in a row, but they didn't win. They won 2 Super Bowls in a row, the first 2. But prior to that, they had the NFL championship. So they won 65, 66, 67, and they won 3 in a row. That's the last time that has happened, was in the late 60s. Lombardi did it. So, I mean, but 3 Super Bowls in a row. But I got to tell you this tonight for me. All I'm saying is this. They got a movable refrigerator on that field tonight. And I'll tell you what, man, I think that guy, Derrick Henry, tonight, I think that guy's going for 150, man. Because I think that guy, I tell you, man, he's on a team with Lamar. You got Lamar in front of you. Who are you covering?
I know.
Him or him? I mean, dude, you got a whole handful between those. Might be the 2 best runners in the league.
I know, man. You're right. You're right. You bring up a good point.
People keep forgetting. And by the way, they got the 3rd or 4th best O-line in football. He's never had a line like that.
No doubt. It's gonna be. Look, what a great game though to start the NFL season. We got a special show tonight on JAKIB Sports. Make sure everybody's tuned in. This week in pro football, back for a 3rd year on JAKIB. So that'll be 6 to 7:15 after Dan Sileo show. But after that, man, I'm gonna be locked in watching that game tonight. It's gonna be a great game. I can't wait to watch it, and I'm looking forward to it. But I'm gonna take the Chiefs. Who do you got? You got Ravens?
I got Ravens tonight. I got Ravens and Henry. And get this. This guy says that Henry's in decline. He had 1,200 yards rushing. No, I think 1,300 yards rushing last year. Yeah. And he's in decline on a team that had Will Levis as his quarterback. And Andre Dillard blocking for him.
Yeah, really.
Great stuff,
it's going to be a great game tonight, though.
It is. By the way, Andy dropping another banner. Are you happy for him?
Oh, absolutely. I am not a fan who dislikes Andy Reid. I mean, obviously he didn't get the job done here, which is unfortunate, but I don't think that was entirely on him. And I think there's a learning curve, and when you look back and you can almost appreciate his career more. I think it sucks that he didn't kind of experience that high here in Philly after what we went through together. But look, he learned a lot, man. I think those were his learning years as a head coach. And I think he's a better coach now than he's ever been. I think he's a better talent evaluator now than he's ever been. I think he's a better, play caller. I think he's a better everything. So I'm happy we're a part of his journey. It really sucks that we didn't win a ring with him. But looking back on him, in my lifetime, he's the greatest Eagles coach we've ever had. I love him. I mean, I love him. I really love Andy Reid. I think he's a great man. I've talked to Andy behind the scenes. We've had him on shows in the past.
I disagree with Angelo on this one.
Yeah, Angelo's a little hard on Andy. I get why, because look, Angelo takes on the Philly persona of, if we don't win, it's a loss. And I get that. So I'm not dismissive of that. I understand that. But, Andy Reid did a lot for this organization. Andy Reid, in a way, is a reason that we are where we are right now. Yeah. So,
Xander, I was just going to say that Jeffrey Lurie and his organization's blueprint and the structure of what they do was set up by Andy Reid and Joe Banner and guys like that.
No doubt.
Everything that you guys are experiencing with success right now is everything that ties back to Andy Reid and what Andy Reid brought to the organization. So if you look at it, all the success that you guys have had post Andy Reid all goes back to him putting the blueprint and laying the cement and the foundation for the organization under this ownership.
Yeah, no doubt. And you can't dismiss Dougie P when we talk about that. He's obviously
he was part of that. He was Andy Reid tree and all that.
Man, no doubt. But Doug got the job done, and they axed him like he didn't do shit here, which pissed me off to no end. I still haven't forgiven our organization for the way they handled Doug Peterson going out the door. I was so livid at that whole thing and the way that all turned out. And even the more you learn about it now, you're just like, what the.
I know. I mean, because you if you have him in 22, you win the Super Bowl.
I'm with you on that. I agree. So I love Doug Peterson, but I love Andy too. So I'm happy for him, man. I every time he wins, look, I'll put it this way, and people aren't going to like this because obviously the Chiefs beat us in the Super Bowl in 22. If the Chiefs aren't playing the Eagles, 95% 95% of the time I'm rooting for the Chiefs just because of Andy Reid.
Because of Andy.
Yeah, and I like him that much. So that's how I feel about him. But I think he gets the win tonight, and maybe he gets back to another Super Bowl, man. That'd be unbelievable.
You think Kelce talked him into drafting his brother?
No, I don't know. Maybe.
But then again, he's always been tight end centric. He was tight end centric in Philly.
Good too. What was Travis? The second rounder?
Yeah, but was Travis great at Cincinnati? Man, I don't remember him there.
I forget where he was drafted.
I don't remember him being that good at Cincinnati.
I thought he was a
kind of like
rounder.
Gronk, right? Gronk had a shitty senior year.
He
You
was
didn't
a
know
third rounder in the 2013 draft, Travis Kelce. He was a third rounder. That's pretty good. But
yeah. I wonder if he called Jason up and said, "Hey," or Jason called him up and said, "Hey, I know there's been some issues," because he got thrown off the team at Cincinnati. I think Brian Kelly could have been his coach when he was at Cincinnati. He may have been. I hate Brian Kelly, man. That's what makes the Chiefs. Hey, I got it. All right, Nick. Hey, Xander, great stuff. Great announcement. Thank you very much. I appreciate, you guys making me even a bigger part of what the network is, and I couldn't thank you guys enough. So tomorrow, pregame show, we'll be ready for that, and also post-game show, our thoughts after. It's going to be kind of crazy seeing what finally all the things that we've been saying. But one thing you get right out of the gate here, Big Sills was right at the beginning of the week about Kelee Ringo starting.
Yes, you were. So flowers on that one. Looks like Kelee will be the outside starter. So great stuff there. Good job, Big Sills. Big Sills cannot wait for this season, man, with you on the pre and post game show. Going to be in a really fantastic year following this football team. Big season ahead, everybody. It's here, baby. It's finally here, so I can't wait.
Don't forget, tomorrow, Birds 365 with Xander and John McMullen tomorrow. Thank you so much, Xander. I appreciate it, brother. We will catch you tomorrow. Great stuff as always, guys. Please hit the like button. Thank you, Xander.
Appreciate you, Sills. I'll talk to you, Art, man. See you. See you, everybody. Appreciate all you guys in the chat.
You guys were awesome, too. Do me a favor. Tell us where we are right now in the like list. And then we're going to do our top 10 teams and our top 10 quarterbacks. Don't forget, Jason Cole's going to join us at 5:30 Eastern time. So we're really looking forward to that. Yeah, I told you guys, we had seen Kelee Ringo's name earlier in the week as a starter at the cornerback position. I had no idea Isaiah was hurt. I had no idea. No one had told me that he was injured. I just saw Kelee Ringo and I went, remember when I came on and I was talking to you about the Devin White story? And I'm going like, okay. I was like, okay. And then I go, there's something else here too. Kelee Ringo looks like he's starting at the cornerback position. They're going to put Quinyon in the slot. Hey, by the way, Kyle, I don't think it's a bad play. I don't. All right, guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
He's blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Imagine for a moment that you went to work today and when you came home, you were catastrophically injured. Your life and your family's life. That's what happened to union construction worker Mike Little.
I was scared of what the end was going to be, but to be 100% honest with you, I knew I was going to be all right just by talking with Brian. In my heart, I just knew everything was going to be all right.
Call the firm and find out why they say, "We got this." Call 215-458-2222.
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sportsbook and casino.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Please hit the like button. You guys are great. Hey, I thought you said we were liars. Didn't you, Senor? I thought Senor said fake news that Keely Ringo was starting at corner. Fake news. Like that's what we do here. I'm kidding with you, Senor. I don't think you said that. I'm just picking on you. Maybe it was you, Andreas. What was Senor? I'm just picking on you. Senor, I'm just picking on you, dude. Senor said Sileo's lying. Keely Ringo's not starting. No, hey, Yale. Yeah, bad reporting on the beat side. No, wait a minute. I'll tell you this. I don't think it was supposed to be shown like that to me. I'm not going to say who showed me the depth chart, but Yale, I came on Tuesday and I thought it was weird seeing his name on a depth chart. And I was like, why is Isaiah Rodgers not out there? You know, they've been saying he's going to start the entire. And John even said it today. They haven't told him yet. And they just reported that Isaiah's out for Friday's game. And I'm like, wow. They don't want to show the Packers until they have, because today, Thursday, yeah, they had to put the final injury list out today. Today's Thursday, right? Yeah, they had to put it out today for Friday's game. So they had to make sure that it was official and who's going to be active and who not active. Yeah. So, okay. Senor, I'm not telling you that. Do you think I'm going to make you feel good about yourself? Guys, please hit the like button. By the way, we're going to get into something here. Top 10 NFL teams. We're also going to do my weekly power rankings. Top 10 quarterbacks in the National Football League. The Big Sills way. So us Eagle fans are supposed to agree to 7 or 5 wins this season from Angelo or Sills. Come on, man. Hey, Marcus, who said that this is set in stone? Because I tell you something, you have to believe it? Marcus, if you don't believe that, you don't have to. It's not an edict. This is not one of the 10 commandments. Marcus, we are saying only 9 wins this year. You will believe it, and that's how you'll eat it. You go forward, and that's the way it is. Come on, man. What do you think this is here? What do you think this is? CNN or Fox News? Believe what you want to believe. Okay? Hey, all I'll say is I'm all right with the Ringo move, actually. Watson's a big dude. Ringo, Isaiah Rodgers isn't. He's not a big dude. Okay? He's not. I'm okay with it. Check out NFL Films Football, narrated by John Facenda. Awesome 74. I love that. I love Facenda's voice. Used to be a local anchor in Philly, by the way, I heard. People in the chat are agreeing to this nonsense. Marcus, and? Do you have a different opinion? State it. That's why we want you here. Marcus, if you're under the impression that this place is set up like WIP's callers are, that they screen callers, we don't screen anybody. That's not what this is. That's why I've agreed to do the pre- and post-game show. Nobody gets screened here. You have free say. It's free speech. You're screened on those radio stations and other Philadelphia Eagle podcasts. You're not screened here. You could say whatever you want. Sills, you're full of shit. They're going to win 13 games. Xander tells me all the time I'm full of shit. It's okay. Okay, look at this. There you go, Marcus. Yes, 14 wins this season, and Hurts will lead the team to the Super Bowl. You're not, hey, get this too. You know what, Marcus? There's a lot of people that buy what you're saying. I ain't one. I ain't one of them. Sills doesn't lie to us, Marcus. You're listening to those cheerleader stations. Absolutely. I like this take here. Sills, are you saying in base formation that Ringo's quarterback 2 over Quinion? Yeah. Yeah. That's what it looks like right now. That's what it totally looks like. That it is absolutely that. Okay? Absolutely. That's what it's looking like. Hey, Sam, I would play Quinion. I would play, and they're going to, Yale. Yale's right. They're going to put him in the slot because you know why? 75 or 73% of the time, Quinion's going to be on the field because they're going to be a nickel. That's right, Yale. Mitchell's going to play more reps than probably every DB out there. Maybe as much as Slay. He's going to play a ton of plays, man. He's going to get a lot of reps. Just because he's not starting at a particular position. How about this? I say this to you about Quinion Mitchell. I say Quinion Mitchell is probably the most versatile DB you have on your roster right now. And that's why they're going to use him in multiple places. Okay? Sills, let me ask you, who has more to prove? Is it Hurts or Love? Help, folks. Help. I'll tell you what, that contract they gave him over 8 games, paying him more than Jalen. Does he take a next step? You know, I kill Hurts on the 22 year. I can't be a hypocrite and go like this. Hang on here now. Wait a minute. I can't be a hypocrite and go like this. Jordan Love is a great football player. And, you know what I mean? Says he played 8 games where, you know what, he looked great. He played in the playoff game and he was really great. Don't you think you need to see more of a sample size? Yeah, I do. I can't lie. Shit, I'm here like this with Purdy. You think Purdy turns into a pumpkin this year? I mean, is it possible? So with Love, what'd you say, Yale? Yale, who do you think has more? Maniac says Love. Think about it too, Maniac. Green Bay has not been wrong in 34 years at quarterback. 34 years they've not been wrong. Is this guy the guy? Are you 100% sold if you're Brian Gutekunst, general manager, and Matt LaFleur? I think, well, you had to be. You gave him $240+ million. You have to be. You have to be sold that guy is that dude. And Green Bay knows how to develop. Get this. Green Bay doesn't develop and have wide receivers develop quarterbacks. Like you guys say that A.J. Brown has helped Jalen Hurts become a better quarterback. Would you not say that? Would you guys not say that? Has Jalen Hurts benefited from A.J. Brown being on the team? Well, in Green Bay, that's not the case. Receivers are made by the quarterbacks. Receivers are not brought in. They actually move them. Green Bay does not have wide receivers help quarterbacks development. That's not how they develop their guys. Okay? They develop wide receivers through the quarterbacks. That's why they're successful. That's why Andy's successful. That's why New England was successful with Brady. Wide receivers didn't make Brady. Brady made the receivers. Mahomes makes the receivers. Love is making the receivers. That's how you develop a quarterback. That's how I was told. Remember something about Joe Montana back in the day. Montana didn't need Jerry Rice to win Super Bowls. He had won one. So when Rice showed up, it was just an appendage that made it even harder to defend him. He had already won. And he won with lesser guys like you see that you have in Kansas City and up in New England when Brady was there. A JM goes, Adams would be successful anywhere. Well, get this. They're more successful now in Green Bay. They went to the playoffs and the Raiders aren't. Green Bay doesn't need Devontae Adams. Just like Kansas City doesn't need Tyreek Hill. And that's what they're banking on in Buffalo. Name one wide receiver that Mahomes made better. He didn't need him. And he's got 3 rings. Get this. Here's JM's thing. Name one wide receiver that Mahomes made better. What's the point? He got 3 rings. And he's a 3-time Super Bowl MVP. What's your point? What's your point? Who gives a shit if you're winning Super Bowls? They didn't need to develop any wide receiver. They're interchangeable parts. In Philly, they're a major part, and you pay them handsomely. They don't pay wide receivers in Kansas City. They're not paying them up in Green Bay. They got rid of Adams. And now Buffalo's hoping that's the same case up there. Wait a minute. Get this. I literally just said that they develop wide receivers that help them win Super Bowls and help them win games and help the quarterbacks get better. Yeah. By the way, you don't have to be a top flight guy to be a developed wide receiver. Look at Juju Smith-Schuster in Kansas City a couple of years ago. Got the best out of Juju Smith-Schuster. They won a Super Bowl with him. Dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Those organizations don't need 2 1,000-yard receivers or $25 million wideouts. The quarterbacks are the main essential people. They didn't develop anyone. Get this. They just developed Super Bowls. And Mahomes throws for $5,000 and 50 touchdowns. Somebody caught those passes. Somebody caught them. Juju's, okay, we'll see. We'll see tonight. Hey, Sills, I think Mitchell is going to play inside and outside. Remember, this defense is all about disguising. Absolutely great take. Absolutely great take. Here, and I'll say this about Niner all day. Brock Purdy is a benefactor of McCaffrey and his versatility, Kittle and his versatility, blocking, catching, Debo and his versatility, and Brandon Ayuk. You want to hear something about, hey, Niner all day. Get this. Niner all day. There's only one player on the offense that is truly a skill set guy that is defined by one role, and that's Brandon Ayuk being a wideout. Now, he could block downfield. He's good. But when you look at the other guys, Kittle's versatile, can block, can catch. Debo's not a true wideout. He runs jet sweeps. He runs the ball from the backfield. He catches it. He's a versatile Swiss Army knife. Look at McCaffrey. McCaffrey is the best running back, being a dual threat guy since probably Marshall Faulk. 100 yards or 100 catches in a season, 1,000 yards receiving, 1,000 yards rushing. I think he led the NFL in rushing last year. I mean, he's almost undefended. He's the best offensive player in that huddle. He's McCaffrey. Andres goes like this. I agree. But I'll tell you what he is. He's a heck of a football player. You're right. Andres, you're right. But he's a heck of a football player. He moves the chains for them. He does. He moves the chains. He's a good football player. Sills, you keep talking all this shit about how great Mahomes is. Don't forget, he also has a top flight defense to keep him in the game as well. How you doing? Akbar, that defense that beat your ass in the Super Bowl wasn't top flight. They were developing him, and you have a top flight Hall of Fame coordinator. And Steve Spagnuolo has got 4 rings. They were great in drafting. They landed on draft picks. By the way, Snead, money, they move them. The only guy they've ever signed over on the other side of the ball has been Chris Jones. It's all player development. So the one thing you can say, whatever you want, they're patient in their development. Why are they patient in their development? Because their quarterback allows them to be. Whether you have a good defense or not, Mahomes is keeping you in every game. That, again, is why I tell you, Yale, tell these guys, the one thing that you can't put a price tag on with Mahomes, no matter how good your football team is, he's going to keep you around the rim to win a Super Bowl. That's how great he is. And you're not going to have to overpay at positions because of his greatness. You don't pay for a running back. You don't pay for receivers. You pay in the O-line to protect your $500 million investment. You got a great tight end. And on the other side of the ball, your player development. Something the Eagles have never done defensively is player development. There lies the difference between Kansas City and Philly. They believe in player development on the defensive side of the football, and they have a quarterback who could throw them out of trouble. No matter what the circumstances are at the wide receiver, they're not putting a $35 million wide receiver. Tell me this. But wait a minute. Get this. Tell me this. How in the world could Tyreek Hill be the number 1 player voted on by the NFL players as the top player in the league, and Kansas City moved off him? So the Kansas City got rid of a guy in his prime, the best player in the league, and they've won 2 straight Super Bowls. How's that possible? What team could lose the best player in the league, especially at a skill set position like wideout, and still win? Well, you got Mahomes. That's why he's maybe greater than Brady. But Brady did the same shit. Peyton Manning had way more talent around him than what Tom Brady ever did. Brady never had the talent around him. He didn't have the Hall of Fame players that Manning did. Never. He never won with a Hall of Fame wide receiver a Super Bowl ever. Ever. There's not a guy, and I've brought this point up to you guys. Tom Brady never won with a guy that, get this, that entire offense in New England, when it comes to the skill set guys, never had a first rounder. No wideouts, no tight ends, quarterback. Sony Michel later, at the end of Brady's career, I think was a first rounder out of Georgia. But for the bulk of his career, he never had a first rounder. That's player development. It's player development. Well, Brady had a top flight defense. And he had the greatest defensive coordinator in the history of pro football who could identify talent. Let's not forget something too, Akbar, about last year. Even though the Patriots won 4 or 5 games last year, they were 8th in total defense. It wasn't like Bill Belichick didn't know what he was doing on personnel, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They were losing games 7-0 a year ago. When it comes to player development, yeah, if you have a top-flight quarterback, you should get this. Here's what's asked backwards, what I don't like about the Eagles and how they develop their quarterback. How in the world don't you develop a quarterback if you have a $50 million quarterback on that side of the ball when you guys are pointing it out yourselves by saying all those guys had top-flight defenses? How come you don't? How come you don't? Okay? How come you don't have a top-5 defense? How come you're not building a top-5 defense? You may be now, but that's a couple years away. Look what they're even doing with Purdy. They built a top-5 defense for their quarterback. Okay? Oh, get this. Wait a minute. Let's go to another fundamental flaw of the Philadelphia Eagles. Here's Senor. Because those teams have a head coach in D.C. that are there for multiple years. Eagles do not. Right. That's a fundamental flaw why you have peaks and valleys and why Jeff Curry even says that on Burst 365, it's not sustainable. Consistency of winning in Philly is not sustainable. I'm not talking about winning 10, 11 games. I'm talking about winning a Super Bowl. I'm talking about winning a Super Bowl. Get this. Look at Yale here. Yale points it out perfectly. Eagles defense was great 2 years ago. All with mercenaries. All with mercenaries. And then 2 years later, you have multiple questions. Okay? Multiple questions. See here. Pittsburgh has had a consistency and haven't won shit. They have not had consistency at the quarterback position since Roethlisberger left. They have to get a quarterback. You've got to identify the number one position on your football team. The problem with Pittsburgh was they held on to Big Ben too long. They should have moved off of Big Ben 3 years prior and started the development process like Green Bay does. I'll tell you what. Isn't it funny? Don't you think? How about this, Yale? Think of this one. Favre left pissed off Green Bay, right? Who's better GM, Howie or John Lynch, Sills? John's a better player personnel director. Howie's a better contract guy. They both win different ways. They just both win different ways. Okay? They do. They just went different. I would probably take John because John builds a better team and lands on better players. Okay? Okay. He goes like this, JM, Trey Lance, Brock Purdy. Okay? You land on Nakobe Dean, they land on Fred Warner. Okay, right? You land on a defensive back, they land on Hufanga. This narrative that the Eagles D was just the Dolphins offense of last year feasted on bad teams and exposed good teams is crazy. Well, I thought Desai was not a bad defensive coordinator until he was fired. They were 10-2. And they panicked. And they made it even worse with Patricia. Okay? Really helps that Lynch actually played. I love that factor too. I think that's why he's a better personnel guy than Howie. Howie's a numbers guy. Howie's a bean counter. Like an accountant. And he does a great job at it. Absolutely does a great job at it. But he's like a CPA. Puts the numbers together, right? I'll tell you what he does do in personnel. There's one thing that he does do that I will give him credit for. Finding guys who are on different teams. But remember that other teams have developed or haven't utilized. And I think he's pretty good at that. Let me tell you this. When they ended up getting A.J. Brown, I didn't think A.J. Brown was that good. He had marginal numbers in Tennessee. Marginal. Not that Tannehill was anything to sneeze at, but they did get to an AFC title game. But when you look at his numbers, they weren't great. 68 catches, 980 yards, 1,000 yards, 1,100 yards. They were Hunter Renfrow numbers. Cole Beasley numbers. They weren't special. It gets to Philadelphia. The guy is completely a different player. I'll tell you this. You're Tennessee and you're watching A.J. Brown. Holy shit. That has to be one of the worst trades in the history of pro football. That you let a frontline guy like that walk out the building and you had him in your building and he didn't even want to leave. And you did that over $5.5 million is atrocious. And that guy Peterson should have been fired. Should have been fired. Getting rid of a guy like that. I mean, when those receivers, now look, again, I don't think you win Super Bowls with big-time wideouts. You win Super Bowls with big-time quarterbacks. But the Slade deal. Let me tell you why that Slade deal moved for Philly and why it worked in Philly. Patricia wanted him as a man corner. That's not who Slay is. Slay's not a week in and week out man corner. He's a zone corner, and he's really good at it. Darius Slay has been a really good Eagle. Whatever you want to say about him, and his selfishness and his bullshit, and how he handles himself sometimes, some of the comments that are dumb. That guy can play. And he's been a great Eagle. That's a big move. And here's another one. This is where he's good at, Howie. The Reddick get out was right. As much as I don't like Huff, Reddick's not in camp. He's not in the facility with the Jets, and you got a game on Monday night against the Niners. You think he could have used him? That's an absolute whiff by Joe Douglas, the general manager of the Jets. I mean, you had to know the guy's freaky as it is. Did you not see the Hong Kong Phooey suit he was wearing in Japan? Did you not see the guy? The guy, you don't know. He's kind of like weird and he wants to get paid. That's a Joe Douglas F-up. It's completely on his ass. On what he did in not getting that deal done. So, I mean, he was right to get out of it. This guy's over in Japan playing Hong Kong Phooey and getting ready to fight Godzilla. And you got a game where you got to fight against Brock Purdy and the Niners on Monday night, and you're sitting over there playing Hong Kong Phooey. Come on, dog. Howie was right to get out from that. Jalen did help AJ because Jalen is a one-read quarterback, and they mostly targeted Brown. Oh, absolutely, Dustin. AJ Brown had a great year last year on a shitty offense. Dustin, you're right. Think about that, Dustin, what you're saying. Think about it, Dustin. AJ had a great year on a shitty offense. Kellen didn't. I don't care if A.J. Brown has a great year. Personally, I don't care. I care my quarterback does. I want my quarterback developed, not my wide receiver. I don't care about him. Not to the extent where I know I need a quarterback to win Super Bowls. A.J. Brown's not going to win you Super Bowls. Jalen Hurts is. Do you understand that? Devontae Smith is not going to win you Super Bowls. Your quarterback is. The teams that get caught up in this, well, AJ's the best player on the team. Well, that's a flaw. The best player on your team should be your quarterback. He is in Green Bay. He is in Buffalo. He is in Los Angeles with the Rams and with the Chargers. He is in Detroit. Even Detroit. Receivers being the best player on your defense is stupid. I personally don't give a shit if A.J. Brown has 1,500 yards. I care that Jalen Hurts continues to evolve, and I want to get to a point where I don't need A.J. Isn't that what you're trying to evolve to? Is that you don't have to rely if the wide receiver doesn't show up like he didn't show up in the game against the Bucs where he was hurt, A.J. Brown. Do you want the entire offense to fall apart because a receiver wasn't there? Or do you think your quarterback can handle it and carry you? That's where the Eagles need to develop into. I think that's exactly what Jason Kelce was talking about. Get this, Andreas. Listen, I'm not debating this any longer because you know why? Nobody but you and people in Philly don't think Allen's not the second best player in the league. Brady, even the people that put the money up are saying Allen's the second favorite to win the MVP. You're the only one, so I don't care. I don't care how you look at him. I really don't care. Because when Tom Brady says he's the second best talent at quarterback in the league, I'm going to take the GOAT's opinion. I agree with this. I agree with Richie. Too many bonehead moves. Richie, let me give you one that aggravates me to the hilt on Allen. You got a minute left in the game. You're on the 10-yard line, Richie. Richie, tell me if you remember this. You get home field advantage on the line, and you fumbled the ball with under a minute. I think it's the Vikings. They get the ball, they take it in, and they win the game. And you lose home field advantage. You got to look at the guy and go, what the fuck are you doing? Honestly, what are you thinking? I would rather have had you take 4 knees. No, you must be talking about Hurts not hitting $4,000. With all those 1,000-yard receivers, he still hasn't. Remember that. Hey, James, right? Was that the game? Was it Minnesota? Was Minnesota one of them? Was like, they lose home field advantage. I was like, I'd rather have you take a knee 4 times. And I was like, come on, dog. You can't have mess ups like that. Okay? You can't have mess ups. Hey, James. Before I move on, James, by the way, guys, please hit the like button. We'll talk about tonight's game. My top 10 quarterbacks, my weekly list, and my top 10 teams. We'll do that next. James, I got a beef with you. Rael Entin, your VP of content, says that NFL players are stupid. NFL fans are mouth breathers. Jerry's a racist. Goodell's a lapdog. And this guy is the VP of content. Now, he's been fired today. Dude, he gets taken out in a bar by someone who is secretly taping him. Now, I know this, and I tell you flat out, this is one of the reasons Big Sills doesn't leave the Dan cave. You will never see me in a bar or anywhere where I'm driving or anything with a drink in my hand. That's just not going to happen. Okay? That's not going to happen. Because God knows what people could say. Taking pictures with people. Dude, when we did a remote at King of Prussia, you know why it was cool for me? It was all people that watched the show. I got a great jersey from some folks. It was really great. I knew all of you. Okay? I knew all of you. So when people were showing up, they were like, yeah, Sills, I was watching the other day. And I was going like, great, okay. Hey, get this. Nobody said he was lying. Wait a minute. Hey, Fly Eagle fanatic. Nobody said he was lying. But you can't have a VP of content in Washington, D.C. You got to remember something about James Jones's team. Even though James Jones is not going to appreciate what I'm going to say to you here, the Washington Redskins Commanders are one of the most politically charged football team in the country. Do you know why? Because senators, House of Representatives, people from the administration, both go to Washington games. And they go to the Redskin games. Okay? And it's kind of like a melting pot for the politicians. They still own RFK. That's a publicly owned facility. Do you know RFK? Like Congress owns it. People don't understand that. Congress owns RFK. And they don't know what to do with it yet. They want to build a new stadium on the site. Josh Harris wants to build a stadium on that site. That's right. JM, lobbyists go. They take their clients there. I don't know why. Guy says there's shit and piss falling from the top. Like Merrill says, worst place, it's a dump. There's shit everywhere. And the guy's like, that's not shit. And he goes, it is shit. And you're like, wow. Hey, look, can I sign up for season tickets? Yeah, I'll take it right next to the urinals. Oh, no, RFK is prime real estate. That's why they don't know what to do with it. Then again, you don't have to worry about anything happening in Washington because anytime that you get Washington involved in something, it'll be 40 years before we know that it gets done. Don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about it. It'll never get done. Sills, I went to a Washington game and the parking costs more than the tickets. Yeah, Alex, because they got to pay those bonds off because of what Daniel Snyder did. Who in the world moves the Washington Redskins to Landover, freaking Maryland? Oh, by the way, hey, Eagle fans, Philadelphia sports fans. So Josh Harris is going to try to hijack you and hold you hostage because he's really seriously thinking about moving the Sixers. Good. I guess that's believing in the process. Is that part of it, Josh? You carpetbagger? Is that part of it? Is that part of the process? Threatening Philadelphia sports fans that you'll move the thing to New Jersey? Oh, I believe it too, Yale. I believe it too. That he'll move it. That guy doesn't give a shit about Philadelphia sports fans. He gives a shit about his portfolio. Why would he? So wait a minute. He's got a rivalry team, and the Washington Commanders, one of the most politically charged teams, where he can get a lot done sitting in Washington, D.C. And he's got a 76er team that the fans are so pissed off at them with the process that you're turning around. You know who Josh Harris is? He's Joel Embiid. Talk a big game. When it matters the most, he doesn't show up. The Camden Sixers. If I was Philadelphia, I'd go, dog. If Adam Silver, who we know very well, if you Google it, Adam Silver used to show up on my sports radio show once a year, and he'd be on for 17 minutes. Jim Rome couldn't believe it that I got the commissioner on every year. I went to school with his wife and with him. I know Adam Silver. We're childhood friends. And I had him on. And we're dear friends. And I would get him on and go, you got to put a team back in Philly. The Camden Sixers. Oof. What a slap in the face that would be. And boy, I'll tell you what, you move that Sixer team, every time that Washington Commander team comes into Lincoln Financial, would I go crazy on that team. They would be my second biggest rival next to the Cowboys for that owner moving that basketball team out with the heritage and the history that you guys have. Let me see. In the Philadelphia 76ers history, you've won 2 championships, right? 67 and 83. You won the one with Wilt, and you won the one with Moses. 67 and 83, right? So there's only one other franchise in that time frame that's won 2 championships. You know who it is? It's the Phillies, and it's the Flyers. Are you going to move that team out of Philly? Oh. I don't know about that, man. You better not show up at that Lincoln Financial. You move that. Oh, boy, that would be great for the rival. It would be great for the Eagle-Commander rivalry if he moved the team. Oh. Now, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. But I'll tell you. By the way, the Flyers would benefit, and the Phillies would benefit if they moved that basketball team out. By the way, that guy lies to you. The process. If we build it, no, we want you to come and then we'll build it. That's your process? Oh, thank you. I got to pay my rent. Okay, guy? That's what I'm worried about. Paying my rent. All right. Josh Harris. Camden Sixers. You would threaten Philadelphia sports. I'll tell you what. The choir must. I hope someone kicks his ass media-wise for doing that. You shouldn't threaten Philadelphia sports fans like that. That's a disgrace. Look, you and I have our beefs on the Eagles and what's going to win and not. But how dare that guy threaten you with one of your Civic Pride teams? I don't know how someone's not kicking his ass for that. They're seriously considering it. Well, hear this, Josh. Fuck you. It's too good a fan base for that. NBA has its issues now. I get it. Come on now. We'll bitch about the Eagles tomorrow night and what I think happens and all. Moving a team, threatening to move a team. Get this. He wants you to build them an arena. And he wants you to build it so he can benefit from it and create more general wealth for him. On your backs? Highest ticket prices in sports are NBA tickets. Be quiet in Philly. Nobody will say anything about this. I will. All right. We're going to reset. Heavy traffic in Chinatown. I know that's where he wants to put that thing. I can't wait to talk to Angelo about that on Monday. Especially after the Eagle game on Friday. How you doing? All right. Hit the like button. We're going to reset my top 10 list of quarterbacks will be unveiled. And my top 10 teams will be unveiled. Hit the like button. By the way, where are we right now in the like list? Where are we as we head into the final hour of the eve before Packers and Eagles? And by the way, hours away from the start of the NFL season, the 105th. Where are we on the likes? Guys, 209? Great. Let's see if we can get another Hunsky before we end up closing up the show and getting ready for Thursday Night Football tonight. I love it, man. Guys, please hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Imagine for a moment that you went to work today and when you came home, you were catastrophically injured. Your life and your family's life. That's what happened to union construction worker Mike Little.
I was scared of what the end was going to be, but to be 100% honest with you, I knew I was going to be all right just by talking with Brian. In my heart, I just knew everything was going to be all right.
Call the firm and find out why they say, "We got this." Call 215-458-2222.
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sportsbook and casino.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sills National Football Show. Please hit the like button. Yale goes as Campbell Soup still in Camden. I know this. Jimmy Hoffa is Jimmy Hoffa is still at 16W. But he's in the north parking lot where the north end zone used to be in the old stadium. Okay, so I know Hoffa's still there. He's in an oil drum. That's what I'm hearing. Hey, I may have heard Keely Ringo starting. I may have heard that Hoffa's in the north end zone. They're in the parking lot. They're in the Meadowlands. So that's kind of what I know. You know, me being Italian, we got to have things passed down to us, you know. So I'm thinking he's in the parking lot in the north end. And if, by the way, if you use one of those little like Geiger counter things or whatever it is, make sure you use a big one, because I heard he's wearing handcuffs. Oh, man. Just what I heard. I heard Anthony Perfacci knows, and I heard Nicky Scarfo knew what was up. I don't know where I heard this. I don't remember. Probably some place called Limelight back in the day. I don't know. It was a story about a guy who was buried in the north end zone. I don't know. I don't know, man. Okay, what's this? Hey, Dan, I heard a take on WIP saying Nolan Smith is an 80s Sam linebacker. He's not suited for today's NFL. Is that true? Sam, strong side linebacker. He is an 80 Sam. That's a strong side line. You think that guy is a strong side Sam backer? in the 80s when Lawrence Taylor played Sam? Who said that? He's a will backer at best. He's undersized, he's small, and he doesn't look very big. Does that guy look like a Sam? Let me help that guy out, 85. Sam is strong side backer. That means run comes at you. Okay? They run the ball at you. And you're usually a pretty big dude to play that Sam backer. Sam means strong side backer. Will is weak side backer. That's what that means. And for that guy to say that Nolan Smith is more of a Sam, he's a Will. He's a weak side backer. You don't want that guy lining up. Hey, Nolan Smith in the 80s would have to line up over Mark Bavaro. Yeah, and have to tackle Derrick Henry. What dumb. The guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't even know the positions. Dude, the positions are still the same today. He's a West Coast defensive back. Now, I like this right here by Forrest. Put him in a wide 9? Yeah. Look at Forrest. Forrest knows more than what that guy just said about being a Sam backer. Absolutely. Richie, I reported this on Tuesday. In case you didn't hear. Even John, again, I don't blame John because I wasn't supposed to see the depth chart. But I saw a depth chart before they got on the airplane. I'm like, why is Keely starting? I didn't know Isaiah was hurt. No one told me. I didn't even ask. I was like, Keely Ringo starting? When did that pop up? Because I brought up the Devin White story because that was a bigger story. Then I looked down and I go, yeah, look, I even wrote it. This was Tuesday's show. I had Ringo, left cornerback. I got Mitchell in the slot. CJ and Reid, that's your safeties. And I'm going like, why is Ringo there? And no, Richie, they're saying he got hurt. I didn't know he got hurt Tuesday. I had no idea he was hurt. Still going to get Clint Hurt fired again. Who said Clint gave it to me? JM, you're assuming. How do you know Jeff Stoutland didn't give it to me? He was a Miami guy. He played at UM. He coached at UM too. He was actually an interim head coach at Miami. Did you know that? Did you know Jeff Stoutland was the interim head coach? Hey, get this. That's even crazier. Check this out. Who said he traveled with the team? Okay, so wait a minute. JM, he traveled with the team. They made the decision, and they still traveled him, and he's out. Why wouldn't they take Devin White? He stayed behind. JM, since you think I lie about everything, and I throw everyone under a bus, they brought Isaiah Rodgers to Brazil, and he's out. Why didn't they bring Devin White? Why didn't they bring Devin? Oh. Devin's a turd now. Seth said Devin White would be a good addition to the linebacker room. Yeah, I agree with you on this one, Kyle. I think he's got character issues. Okay? I think he's got character issues. I'm with you, man. You said Clint texts you. I did not say that. You misheard me. Don't misrepresent me. You misheard me. That's not what I said. I don't remember that. I don't remember that. Jalen, I do not remember that. I do not remember. Yeah, man, this guy here, man, he's got problems. Get this. Folks in the Buccaneers are not shocked that he's putting on this baby-ass show. He did the same shit. He had a foot injury after the contracts were not going well. He had another foot injury. And all love to John McMullen. He said that he struggled with a foot injury all year. No, you mean he struggled with a contract issue all year, and he couldn't get his foot out of his mouth issue. Sills checked his phone just now. Dead giveaway. Oh, man. I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea. All right. We're going to reset. And then, by the way, please do me a favor. So I'll ask you now. Sills, you think the 49ers destroyed the Jets? No. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to go in there, and I think he's going to play a hell of a game. Why is that? Well, look how close he is to Berkeley. That's where he went to school. He's a California guy. All his boys, I know his family ain't going because they don't like him. I know all his boys and all of his people and all of his pot smokers and all the people that hang out in Humboldt County are going to be there. They're going to be blowing teepee smoke at him. Man, I love you. Lighting fighters up and shit for him. Oh, this thing's going to be a total pot fest. You're going to think you're at the Monterey Pot Festival. This thing's going to sound great. Okay? Okay? I mean, right. You got the Monterey Pop Festival. Hey, Aaron, man, you're my boy. How you doing? Santa Clara. Yeah, Northern California, what have you. Yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a great season, actually. Oh, I got my bold predictions, too. I haven't done that yet. How you doing? Man, I bet. Hey, by the way, how about when my boy BJ, he's still in here? He must be really pissed off that I broke the Keely Ringo story. Man, you must be mad. You must be mad. Hey, man, by the way, I think it's a good move. I don't have a problem with it. He's a bigger guy, and I think he lines up better on Christian Watson Friday night than what Isaiah did. I don't have a problem, but I think there's a depth problem there now. Okay? Dan, it was Mike Lombardi. He said he's an old school Sam, LB, jam the tight. I'm really disappointed in Mike Lombardi. Let me ask you something. Does Nolan Smith look like he can jam tight ends at the line? You think in the 80s he's jamming Mark Bavaro or Keith Jackson at the line of scrimmage? 85. Are you old enough to remember Keith Jackson? You think he's physical enough to line up and bang on Mark Bavaro and also Keith Jackson? I know you don't think that. Those tight ends were huge. They were like another old lineman back then. He's set up more for today's NFL than he was for the 80s. You're lining up in LT's position and you're going to line up over tight ends? Never happened. He can't cover. Dude, Mark Bavaro ran Ronnie Lott over. You don't think he's running Nolan Smith over? Ray goes like this. Sills, look at Smith's Bama tape. Nolan Smith, you mean a game against Bama? Because he played at Georgia. Okay? Yeah, tight ends. Today, he could line up over them tight ends. Dude, Bavaro, I'm with you, Mr. International. He'd have killed that guy. He ran Ronnie Lott over, Kenny Easley over. Those Hall of Fame safeties he ran over, and you're going to put Nolan Smith on him? He would eat his... I'm disappointed in Mike Lombardi because he used to be smart. Used to be smart. But hey, Richie, here's my problem. And I'll say this to you. I'd rather put Quinyon out there, but I get it. I don't know what the problem is with Avonte Maddox not being able to play in the slot. Put Avonte in there, man. You put Avonte Maddox in the slot. You have Quinyon out there on the corner, and you can rotate with Keeley if you want. And then you have Reid and CJ playing your safety position. And on the other side, you have Slay. Okay? Okay, Ray. See, Ray? That's a perfect Big Sills viewer right here. Thank you, Ray. And Ray, I don't have a problem with what you're saying. I'm not a reporter, bro. I'm just repeating. I'm not killing you. 85. I'm not killing you. You're the messenger. Oh, wait a minute. 85. You kill me when I'm the messenger. And I'm not going to kill you. You're getting it in the face. Okay? You're getting the Kuyans in the face too, guy. Wait a minute. No. You're not getting away with that, 85. You kill me for being a messenger sometimes. So you're going to get them dragged across the face too. Welcome to Kuyan City. How you doing? Sorry, 85. You're taking it too, man. I get killed for being the messenger sometimes. Okay? For this game, Maddox could play slot, but I don't think he can be relied upon to cover top flight receivers coming out of the slot. I agree with that. I agree. But I'd put him out there, man. I want to see Quinyon play on the corner. I want to see him play on the numbers. I do. I want to see him play on the numbers here. Sills, I might be going to the Eagles playing Washington in Washington or Panthers game. Hey, make sure you take pictures and post them, please. Anytime Big Sills Army folks are out in force, please, I will follow you on my Twitter and I will post the pictures. That is an absolute guaranteed promise. Let's hear your week one. No, that's tomorrow, Junior. It ain't Friday. I'll give you tonight's game. Devontae, got to wait an extra day there for that, Junior. What do you think this is? By the way, I want to say thank you one more time to JAKIB. We will be doing the pre- and post-game show. My first since I worked for the Raiders. And I did Raiders. Let me think about the teams that I've worked on doing pre- and post-game. I did the San Francisco Giants post-game. I did Stanford Cardinals sidelines. I did Raiders pre- and post-game. These are for the teams. I worked on the sidelines of the Stanford Cardinal football. I did a post-game show for the Bucs when I first got to Tampa. I worked on the Rays pregame show. Jesus, I can't believe I've done it. I've worked on the Tampa Bay Lightning pregame show. I worked on the Miami Hurricanes pregame show, postgame show. I worked on the Dolphins postgame show. I worked and I was the host of the Padres pre- and postgame show. Yeah. And now we're doing this. So I've done all that stuff. Hey, Kyle. I was the pre- and postgame host for the San Diego Padres for 3 years. I did that for about 3 years. I still think Eli Ricks. I think, hey, I think Keely Ringo, I think this is going to be pretty good. Yeah, Dustin, I wasn't very good at it, but I did it. God, man. And I remember this. I had to do morning drive. So I did 6 to 10, I think. I did 6 to 10. Then I turned around and had to come back and do a Padres pre- and post-game show. Ugh. A pain in the ass that thing was. I think I got, but see, listen, I think I got like $225 a show. Remember, it's 160 games. It was pretty good dough. Like 160 games. So, I mean, it was like, You're going to make some change doing that. Cole Beasley numbers, he had 2,000-yard seasons. Well, hey, Jimmy, how many seasons did A.J. Brown have in Tennessee? 3? 2? How many seasons did he have? 60 catches, 900 yards, 1,100 yards. He didn't put up big numbers in Tennessee. You would never look at A.J. Brown and go, he was an elite wide receiver in Tennessee. He did not have elite numbers. The real deal goes, 36K is big money. Yeah, when you're making $400,000 and you're adding that to it, yeah. 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 For an hour of work? Yeah. 36 grand for an hour? You guys okay with that? For an hour, 4 times a week, 36K. You all right for an hour? There were 30-minute pregame and postgame. Are you okay with that? So it is an hour a day. An hour a day for 4 days, 4 hours a week. I made 36K. You all right with that? Anybody? This guy must be a big money guy. That's big money. Hey, not to you, obviously. You must live on the yacht with Jeffrey Lurie. Hey, this guy must be a yachtsman. Oh, you're a yachtsman. All right, listen, I don't know if I should do this because we're in a good mood here. We got football tonight. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Do I want to do this? Because people are going to be very upset with me here. I got my NFL Bowl predictions too. Don't forget, Jason Cole's going to join me in a couple minutes. So I might as well do this now before Cole. Here are my top 10 NFL teams. Okay? We're going to do that in the final segment, senor. We'll get your thoughts. Here are my top 10 NFL football teams. See here. 36K was different. Was more then. Good point. That was about 4 years ago. Probably 50 grand today. Look at you, Sean. Thinking like a banker. All right. Number 10. I have the Cleveland Browns, led by the greatness in a comeback year by Deshaun Watson. My opening week top 10 has the Cleveland Browns at number 10. Number 9, the team from the city of brotherly love. I have the Philadelphia Eagles. They go into the game. New coordinators. New center. Massive question marks on defense. We shall see if they go up or if they go down. I have the Philadelphia Eagles at number 9. Number 8, a team that I think is one of the up-and-coming football teams, and I think this football team is going to have another great year because of their great quarterback. I have, from the city of Houston, Texas, the Houston Texans at number 8. Will Anderson, C.J. Stroud, Jeremy Tunsil. Now you have Stephon Diggs. What a great-looking football team. The Houston Texans are at number 8. Number 7, the second best quarterback in pro football resides in the city of Buffalo, New York. The Buffalo Bills are the number 7 ranked team On the big sills, I forgot Daniel Hunter's down there too. That was a good pickup by Nick Caserio down there. As the number 17 in pro football. Number 6. I think Duke Tobin has done a nice job with this team and building it through the draft. Jamar Chase is a problem not being in camp. And they got Joe Mixon. Thank you. Forgot that too. And this team lost Joe Mixon. The Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Namath Burrow. Got to stay healthy, son. Got to stay healthy at number 6. Number 5. A lot of losses on defense. Patrick Queen, secondary coach. A lot of places and pieces on that defensive side of the ball have to be replaced. They got a good-looking offense. They've added Derrick Henry. They play tonight. I've got at number 5, the Baltimore Ravens. At number 3, this football team you will see on Friday. I have a team that could play in the Super Bowl and have a rematch of Super Bowl I. The Green Bay Packers, led by the greatness of Jordan Love, is the number 3 team in pro football. Number 2, I have a team that I have picked to win the Super Bowl. It is Motown Love, baby. Absolutely. The home of Motown. Detroit Lions are your number 2 team in pro football. And number 1, until you beat the king, you have to become the king to beat the king. Kansas City Chiefs head into week 1 as the number 1 team in pro football. So here are your top 10 teams. Kansas City, Detroit, Green Bay, number 3, 49ers, number 4, number 5, the Ravens. Did I forget the Niners? Niners at 4. Kansas City 1, Detroit 2, Packers 3, Niners 4, Ravens 5, Bengals 6, Bills 7, Texans 8, Eagles 9, and number 10, the Cleveland Browns. We're efforting our friend, Jason Cole. Hopefully we're able to catch up with him and get him aboard here as we get ready for tonight's game. If not, we go on here. And now, I like this before Cole gets on here. CBS has their top 10 quarterbacks, and so does Big Sills. And I'm not using their list. Let's do CBS's first. Number 10 from the Rams, Matthew Stafford. Number 9, Jordan Love, Packers. Number 8, Dak Prescott. Number 7, Jalen Hurts, Eagles. Number 6, Brock Purdy. Number 5, CJ Stroud. Number 4, Joe Burrow. Number 3, Lamar Jackson. Number 2, Josh Allen. And number 1, Patrick Mahomes. Oof, man. It's going to be interesting this season. I mean, now before I get Jason Cole on, I want Jason to hear my top 10 quarterbacks and see if he's cool with this, because I think CBS is stupid sometimes with their picks, because I think they do it for clickbait stuff. But here, I got Mahomes 1, I got Allen 2, I got Lamar Jackson 3, I got Burrow 4, I got C.J. Stroud 5. I got Jordan Love 6. I got Brock Purdy 7. I got Hurts 8. I got Dak 9. And I got Justin Herbert 10. And if you want, you could put a tie there with Rodgers at 10 with Justin Herbert. So he's writing it down, so I want to double check that he gets it. Mahomes 1, Allen 2, Lamar 3, Burrow 4, Stroud 5, Love 6, Purdy 7, Hurts 8, Dak 9, Herbert and Rodgers tie for 10th. With that being said, let's bring our Hall of Fame voter in, Jason Cole. Jason, what do you think of that list, brother?
It's okay. I mean, like, why is Rodgers so low? Because he hasn't played?
And he's injured. He's 40 years old, coming off an Achilles.
Okay.
And the O-line to me is a little suspect.
See, he'd be 5 on my list. If you're just talking about right now this year, what you're going to do right at this moment.
Yeah.
I'd still have
24,
I'd have
24.
Yeah. Now, if I'm building, like, I agree. If I'm trying to build a squad long term, I get it. You know, I put a bunch of guys ahead of him because I think it's only 1 or maybe 2 years that he plays out. But if I have to win a game tomorrow, or if I have to play out this season at least, I'd probably have him a lot higher on that list.
I think he goes.
And I will say, and let me add this. I think that guys like Dak, Tua, Goff, those guys like that, Cousins, are all interchangeable. I think
so. So like Dak, you could put any one of those guys in there at 9 that you just said. Goff, Tua, Dak. Those guys are pretty much the same dude.
I mean, I would have Herbert ahead of Dak because I think there's better potential for Herbert. And I would have Dak 10, but I would have, I would just say you get into a group of guys of 3, 4, 5 guys who are all essentially the same quarterback, in my view.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of, those 3. There's a drop after those 3. You got, the Deshaun Watsons, who potential, a Russell Wilson, can he revive? That kind of discussion. But that's a clump right in the middle of, you're talking about a league average or slightly above.
You think Rodgers is a better quarterback than Steve Young?
Yes, I do.
I do too.
Yeah. I mean, Rodgers is a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback.
Better than Tarkenton too, yes?
Yeah, better than Tarkenton. The problem with the Tarkenton stuff is the rules for Tarkenton it's not the same game. They're not playing the same game at all.
He played a completely different game because he threw for almost 50,000 yards back then. I mean, he was really the forefronter guy when it came to dual threat guy because he ran a lot. Like he could play today.
He could play. His style would hold up. I think. In fact, he would be better off today because you wouldn't be able to hit him as much. But what I'm talking about with Tarkenton is the ability to knock down receivers, to hit, the way you're blocking for guys. It's just a different game where, like, he'd probably produce much better stats today than he did then, and he produced some pretty incredible stats because of his athletic ability. But you don't have the kind of offensive design with nickel receivers, 4 receiver alignments, 5 receiver alignments. You don't have that kind of stuff. Tarkenton didn't have that kind of stuff, and they've got all that stuff today. You have so many ways to avoid throwing interceptions today, which is part of Rodgers' magic. I mean, he threw so few interceptions, but it's because he's really smart playing the design of the game.
I didn't get you on for this topic, but I've always said this about Fran. I think one of the reasons that he was ahead of the game was because of Bud Grant being up in Canada and they threw the ball all around the yard up there in Canada.
Yeah.
And that was the game up there. And I think that was a precursor to spread offenses was through Bud Grant, because Bud didn't really run the ball that much. He threw the ball up there, and he had a back kind of like Marshall Faulk and Chuck Foreman. And that kind of how he really ran his offense was through what he did up in Canada when he won all those championships.
Yeah, I mean they were throwing a Foreman a lot. I mean, it was that was the time when tight ends never got thrown to. They get 30, 40 passes a year and be happy about it. And they were blocking most of the time. And the running backs caught a lot of balls. But the game was, the offense in those days is so terrible to watch because you just didn't have the personnel to put on the field. And again, that's why when people start saying, "Oh, look at this guy's quarterback rating and stats today compared to 20, 30, 40 years ago," it's not the same game. And it's not to say that the game before was better. In fact, the game in the 70s is really dull and awful.
Yep.
Like it was crappy football to watch. Okay. It was tough football, and it was, man's man kind of game and all of that kind of stuff. But it was crappy in terms of inventiveness and design and entertainment. Today's game is far more entertaining and complicated and interesting because they opened the rules up.
If you had to pick a quarterback in today's game off this list, who would you want, Love or Stroud?
That's an interesting question because I'm still getting over the fact that I thought that Stroud wasn't that good.
Me too.
Based on the Ohio State way that they played and what I was expecting, and all of a sudden, and the pre-draft criticism that he took and all those things. And it's still in the back of my mind, and I find myself going, okay, that's over, dude. Get over that and let it go. And I have an appreciation for what Jordan Love went through. And I don't know that that's really, I don't think either one of those things matter to the final assessment of who do you think is just a better player. And I think at the end of the day, that makes me think Stroud's a better player. But I will also say the second half of last season, Jordan Love
was as good as anybody.
And he was in the playoffs. Like you saw him on that Thanksgiving Day game in the playoffs. And so, it's like, it was
like it clicked, and all of a sudden you're watching him. You're like, holy cow, look at this guy, man. I mean, that's what I did too, because it was a bumpy start for that guy.
Yeah, there were some really good moments in the first half of the season, and there were some crappy moments in the first half of the season. And you're like, I remember somebody asked me like week 3 or week 4. I was on with somebody, and they said, so do we think Jordan Love is any good? And I said, do I have to make a decision today? Like, do I have, can I see some more? And we saw some more in the second half of the season. It was like, whoa now. That's special. But on the flip side, CJ Stroud did it as a rookie right away and overcame all the things that I thought were going to hold him up. And he was electric last year.
He surely was. Let me go and go forward to the Friday game and then come back to tonight's game here. Between Jordan Love, who we just talked about, and Jalen Hurts, who do you think has to get out of the gate quicker to show what his team can be? Because look at Hurts. Hurts is coming off a bad season. He's coming off a scenario where he's got a new coordinator, he's got a new center, he's got new responsibilities, a defense that's a little bit suspect. And on the other end, what you just said, you paid a guy $250 million off of really 8 games. Is that guy really the dude that you think he is? And I'm with you, Jace. I think he is. I'm not saying he's not, but for you, who do you think has to have a good showing, in your opinion, to kind of validate some of the things moving forward here, Hurts or Love?
Well, I think it's Hurts pretty clearly to me, because it's not just the personal factors. It's your team is expected to be a Super Bowl contender, right? And you're 2 years removed now, or 2 seasons removed from, you were in the Super Bowl and you were this close to winning it, right?
Yeah.
And arguably should have won it if not for, kind of a questionable. I mean, it was a penalty, but a questionable penalty, right?
Yeah.
And you did some really electric things, and then last year you regressed a lot. So the momentum is going For the Eagles, the momentum's going this way. And losses we talked about, Fletcher Cox, Kelce, like there's
Reddick.
a lot of momentum. Yeah, there's a lot of momentum going this way. So you want to turn that momentum and get it going this way. And Green Bay can, I think, sit there and go, we have momentum going this direction. Things were going that well. And if you hit a hiccup, it's like, okay, it's still part of the growth, right? Like we're still coming along and you can deal with a hiccup earlier. I think to me Hurts because you know what's going to happen in Philly if they get off to a slow start.
Oh, you're going to get killed.
If Green Bay gets off to a slow start, they still love Green Bay.
Yeah.
No,
you know what? That's a great point because if you think about it, this offseason has been manufactured momentum by the team and by the media and by the fans because if you go by just the play, the momentum is not on the Eagle side in any way. And as an organization, the Packers ended up on a high note. Nobody expected them to go in. Nobody expected them to go into Dallas and destroy them like that and hang in the divisional game. I mean, they were a couple plays away from winning, and they took that team to the limit. I mean, they were playing kind of on house money. So that organization, in my opinion, we're sitting here as media people and fans and all that, manufacturing momentum that the Eagles are trending up when, quite frankly, they haven't trended up on the field yet whatsoever, and that's going to take place on Friday.
They're trending down. The Eagles are trending down, and that is not to say down as in it's no question. It's they're a bad team. They're falling apart. I'm not saying they can easily turn it around, but the point is they have to turn it around. They have to start turning it around. They have to start like last year. I remember the second half of the season. I'm like, this team will get it back on track. This team will get it back on track. This team, and that was like, at a certain point, you got to stop saying that. They're playing bad football, and you have to go, why is it that they're playing such bad football? And that was what we're trying to figure out
tonight. Mahomes, Jace, I look at Mahomes now, and I look at him, and I don't really care what he does anymore in the regular season. I don't care. I just wait for him in January now. And so whatever it is now with him. But a guy like Lamar who's 0-3 versus Mahomes, and you know what? The last time he saw Kansas City was in the AFC title game, and they pretty much kind of shot themselves in the foot with their game planning with the 37.
That was double barrel shotgun to both feet.
It's a big game tonight for him, though.
Absolutely. I mean, look, Lamar Jackson won the MVP last year. Because Josh Allen couldn't get out of his own way, right? I mean, it was sort of by default. Now, Lamar played very well, played very efficient football. Patrick Mahomes did not because he was not getting help from his receivers, and they were having problems all year until they got in the playoffs and straightened some things out. So Lamar had a better year than Patrick Mahomes. But Josh Allen was right there with him, except for the fact that Josh Allen threw the ball to the other team too many times, right? And hence why players think he's overrated. You're hurting your own team with all those picks and the hero ball that you try and play. But Lamar, as consistent as he's become, is not coming up big in the biggest moments. There are still some things you've got to beat Patrick Mahomes, and you got to beat Kansas City.
Isn't that crazy? He's won 70% of his games, Jace. He's got 2 MVP awards. And we're talking about a guy who, we're talking about the greatness 10% here now, right?
Yeah. Look, Lamar Jackson has a narrative that gets him to the Hall of Fame. I am not saying he's a Hall of Fame player. Patrick Mahomes is almost assuredly right now a Hall of Fame player.
If he retired today, I'd be like, I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Right? Yeah, like you got 3 rings. You're doing a hell of a job, right?
3 MVPs, Super Bowl.
Yeah, you're right. You're doing it. You're there, right? But Lamar Jackson has not finished that story, and I'm not saying he can't, but that last little part that you talk about is a really difficult part to get. It means you have to You have to play perfect games in AFC Championship games like last year, and he didn't. He got sacked 4 times in that game and threw the ball up, and got let down by one of his teammates committing a big fumble. But he had plays that he could have made in that game as well that would have turned it, and they didn't happen.
I'm going to ask you something off script here. You bring up the Kansas City Chiefs. Most influential owner in NFL history, would it be the Hunts? Would it be the Rooneys? Would it be
the
Hallases?
Well, it's George. It's not the current group. It's not, it ain't George McCaskey.
But the Rooneys have been able to keep what Art did moving. And also, when you think about what the Hunts done,
aside from founding the team, what did Art Sr. really do?
Well, he hired Chuck Noll.
Dan did. Dan hired Chuck.
Oh, so you say he's more back in the Ernie Stautner? Are you saying he's more responsible for the Ernie Stautner shitty teams in the 60s?
Okay. The chief was a wonderful man who did a lot. He was great to the league.
I love the guy. Every time you go over to the Steelers, you know what they still do to this day in his honor? You eat fish on Fridays. You know that?
Yeah, I know. They're look. Our Rooney Sr., the class act, all sorts of stuff. But things didn't turn around until Dan took over as president and hired Bill Nunn, hired Chuck Noll, Brian Dick Haley,
Neil Donahue came in later and all that.
Yep. Yeah, and got a stadium done. Yeah, I mean, look, when Art was there and really truly in charge on a day-by-day basis, they were practicing in that park. Remember, you just heard the story that they shared with the police forces horses, right?
Yeah.
So they literally practiced. And Terry Hanratty, the old backup quarterback, told me that story. He goes, "Yeah, I threw a pass to a guy and he had to dive, and he just came up with horse crap all in his
Rocky Blyers too said that to me. He used to tell me, what you try to do is not get the footballs on the ground or you not on the ground, because you never knew what you were going to come up with when you practice on that field."
Yeah, it was just it was a mom and pop operation.
It was.
Really was. Dan professionalized it.
The impact that Derrick Henry has on this Ravens team will be what?
Oof.
Can you imagine tonight?
I love Derrick Henry.
You had the two best, arguably, open field runners in the NFL on one team tonight. I can't wait to see what this thing looks like, Jason.
I remember, and we'll see how healthy Derrick Henry is, and I think he's going to be good this year. But I still remember Russell Wilson and Marshawn Lynch at their peak when they were running some of that pistol stuff, and attacking Russell attacking the edge and Marshawn attacking the middle, and how much faster that made Marshawn at the line, because all you had to do, and people don't know, it's like a quarter of a second. If you can make the defensive lineman hesitate for a quarter of a second, even a tenth of a second, man's gone. Like he's got leverage on you. And Derrick Henry running into that line, and if the defensive line is not ready for him on this, that could be monstrous. I'm fascinated to see how those two play together. But I think Derrick Henry's set up to have a great season. 1,400 yards, 15, 16 touchdowns, playing next to Lamar, and keeping Lamar from having to carry too many times. Get those carries down to, say, 7 or 8 a game instead of 8 to 10.
Is he better than Marshawn Lynch?
Derrick Henry?
Yeah.
No, not yet. But it's close.
You know what? Marshawn Lynch he's an asshole, but I'll tell you, I love him. And I got to say, he's an underrated player. You're going to have a tough decision on him, because, boy, I'll tell you, Russell Wilson, never the same without him on that Seattle team.
Oh no! Well, but Marshawn was his best with Russell, and Russell was his best with Marshawn. Like those two guys worked very well together, even if they don't like each other and don't have a lot of respect for each other. They needed each other to be at their true best, and they brought out the best in each other. And Marshawn, I think, is a Hall of Famer. It's going to be a discussion. I'm not saying that it's not a rubber stamp, but I would vote for him for the Hall of Fame.
Me too.
Yeah.
Is this two last questions for you? Is this Kansas City's, or not Kansas City? Is this San Francisco's last window of opportunity to win the Super Bowl? Because at the end of the year, you got to make some really tough decisions on a $60 million quarterback and other positions that you kind of struggle.
I don't think a quarterback's going to be $60 million. I think the quarterback's going to be more like 45. Because
you think you're paying him less than Trevor Lawrence?
I think because he's an exclusive rights guy. He doesn't have the same leverage. He doesn't have the same leverage that guys have. So the number comes in a little bit less. I also think that Brock Purdy is not going to play the same kind of game that other guys play. I just have the feeling that he realizes, like, I know I'm tied to them for a fourth year. They can tag me and they can do a bunch of other stuff to me that holds me up. But I understand this is the best system that I can be in. And as long as I'm not a hog about this thing, I'll be set up pretty good because we'll keep Ayuk. All right, Debo, we'll see how long that lasts. Kittle, we're gonna have to move on eventually. C-Mac, things do get dicey. But they have Pearsall and they'll draft. I expect that they'll draft well. They've found some other guys. The defense is really good. I think they're gonna find a way to kind of keep it going. But this is their best, this is their last chance with the group that we see today. Like Trent Williams isn't playing that much longer, right?
Yeah. No.
And they can't keep the same group of skill guys. So this group has this year. Get it done.
Finally here, what kind of broadcast do you think Brady's going to be?
I hope he's good, but
me too, because Joe Montana stunk. Okay.
Well, Joe's not very bright. Like Joe's not a comp.
Okay, we have a new candidate to be the VP of content in Washington. His name is Jason Cole. He's
not. I mean, he was let me just tell you this. He's a
Joe
genius.
Doesn't care about things as much as other people do.
Right. He was a genius of a football player.
Oh, yes.
But if you want to have a conversation about something intellectual, Joe ain't your guy, man.
I hate hearing the truth sometimes. Okay,
but he's a good guy. He was nice, but
a great guy.
There's only a couple of things in the world that he ever really cared about.
There's very few quarterbacks I actually respect like him, and I respect him a ton.
Sure, as a football player, he's in that top 4, top 5.
I've never seen a guy give a shit about nothing else, and not even football, and win.
But that was the beauty, like the beauty of Joe Montana, and I will say this, is he never complicated things, including football, right? Like football to Joe was throw to the open guy. Don't get complicated. I remember Mike Silver tells this great story, right, about way back when we were still old enough that we could play football, right? And play, and he had like a flag football team that he was playing in Berkeley when he was living in Berkeley. And he's like, oh, we're trying to beat this team that runs this kind of defense. And he went to the quarterbacks of the 49ers, drew up what the defense is, and asked for advice on how do you do this. And he goes to Joe first, and Joe looks at it and goes, well, that guy's open, right? And they go, well, yeah. He goes, well, throw it to that guy, right? And like, Mike was not satisfied with that as an answer. He wanted something more elaborate. He wanted this. He wanted, so he went to the other quarterbacks, and they're like just scheming and design, and they keep losing. And they finally say, well, why don't we just throw it to that guy? Because he's open, right? Like, why make it hard? Yeah. And too many people in this game make the game harder than it is. And Joe was great in his view of simplicity. Of throw it to the open guy. That's how you run this. And I don't really care about all this complicated stuff that you're talking about and all this. it doesn't really matter to me. Like, I don't, that's why he was a bad announcer. So to get back to your original question, how's Brady going to be? I think he has a lot to say. I'm really worried, and I think he's a smart guy, but he's a boring guy. So he could be very careful about what he says. And one thing that makes me think he's going to be too careful is his reaction to the when he got roasted. Like, he got upset about that. Instead of telling everybody, going, "Hey guys, it was a roast. Expect. This is how it goes." He let that fester as, "Oh, what do people think? What is this?" And that. You think too much. You can't do that in that business. If you think much about what everybody's going to think you say, you're not going to be good as an announcer. You have to go in there and say, "I'm telling you exactly what I think. Here it is."
Absolutely, man. I'm going to be interested to see what he does in that Cleveland game against the Cowboys. Jace, I got to roll, and I appreciate it, brother.
Oh, one other thing. One other thing that just going to say that is unfair to Brady. It's unfair that they make these guys the number one guy coming out of this year.
Yeah.
That's
Should make
unfair.
them 2 or 3. Absolutely.
4, 5,
Jason,
6,
got to
7,
roll.
8. Yeah. See you, dude.
You got it, man. Jason Cole, our good friend. Loved listening to him. Make sure you check out his work. Thank you guys so much. Joe, Xander, we appreciate it. 2 to 6 tomorrow. Guys, please hit the like button, and we'll see you on the flip side.